Having given herself to Shun Hung, Yang Jinxian naturally no longer kept any secrets. She told Shun Hung everything about herself. Originally, she thought the person beside her was sent by Song Jinming, but unexpectedly, it was Shun Hung. It turned out to be a huge misunderstanding. However, unlike Shun Hung, she firmly believed that once the snow stopped falling, society would definitely restore its former order. The immense power of the government surely wouldn't just ignore such a chaotic situation and let it continue. When that time came, she would be willing to become a good, little woman by Shun Heng's side. As for whether they would get married or not, to her, it no longer mattered. With danger lurking everywhere right now, being with Shun Hung meant having enough food and drink, without having to worry or fear anything. The fact that Shun Hung treated her so well was more than enough. Moreover, she had felt a sense of warmth and familiarity from Shun Hung that she hadn't experienced in a long time. Previously, she didn't allow her younger sister to be with Shun Hung as well because she felt it was too absurd. Her sister was still very young and would eventually have to get married in the future. But at the dining table, Shun Hung had also seriously assured her that he wouldn't have any ulterior motives toward Yang Muxuan. Of course, if Yang Muxuan willingly fell in love with him, then there was really nothing he could do about it. Yang Muxuan pouted slightly. Although her brother-in-law was very outstanding and could lead them through this harsh ice age, wasn't he being a bit too arrogant? Besides, he already had 2 women, one of whom was her own older sister. How could she possibly like him? Hubby, Yang Jinxian said anxiously after finishing her story. Song Jinming is a pervert. When I was still at the Song family, he already had his eyes on me. After my late husband passed away, he wanted to force himself on me even more. In the future, when this snow stops, I'm afraid Song Jinming will come looking for me again. I'm worried I'll drag you down with me when that happens. Don't worry. Shun Hung waved his hand calmly. He really hadn't expected that Yang Jinxian was actually Song Jinming's sister-in-law, and that Song Jinming had illicit intentions toward her. You probably don't know. Song Jinming, he is. Seeing that Shun Hung didn't take the matter to heart at all, Yang Jinxian got a bit anxious and wanted to explain more clearly. I know. Isn't he the current head of the Song family? Shun Hung smiled faintly. He understood the Song family very well. In his previous life, the entire northern district of Jiangcheng was completely controlled by the Song family. That was true, overwhelming power. Yet, before the apocalypse happened, the Song family was merely a second-rate family in Jiangcheng. Of course, this was also related to the fact that all the first-rate families had entered safe shelters. When there's no tiger in the mountain, the monkey becomes king. With the first-rate families hiding in shelters, the Song family was able to seize the opportunity to rise. An even more important point was that the Song family controlled Jiangcheng's granary. With abundant supplies, the Song family recruited troops and bought horses. For a time, their momentum was massive, overwhelming the other major factions. Now, if Shun Hung wanted to establish his own faction, clashing with the Song family was inevitable. It was only a matter of time. Adding Yang Jinxuan's matter to the mix wasn't a big deal at all. Then, will you still? Yang Jinxian hesitated a bit. Anyway, just rest assured. You don't need to worry about the Song family. As your man, I will naturally solve all these troubles for you, Shun Hung said coldly. If soldiers come, a general will stop them. If water comes, earth will block it. The Song family? I don't even put them in my eyes. Yang Jinxuan's beautiful eyes shifted, staring unblinkingly at Shun Hung. During this period, her late husband had died, and she had been struggling to hold on all by herself. She was so tired. Shun Hung seemed to have given her a solid support and a great source of strength. After all, she was still a woman who needed a man's shoulder to lean on. Meanwhile, Yang Muxuan quietly pouted again. He sure knows how to brag. Although the Song family wasn't a top-tier family faction, they definitely weren't something Shun Hung could fight against alone. This wasn't confidence. It was arrogance. But seeing her sister's face full of adoration, she didn't say anything more and chose to lower her head and eat. Oh right, your late husband's name was Song Guangming, wasn't it? Shun Hung suddenly remembered something and asked. Why yes, my ex-husband. Yang Jinxian blushed. Right now my husband is you. This woman, once her heart was moved, was truly as tender as flowing water. Shun Hung wrapped his other arm around her and asked, Have you ever heard of a man named Wang Peng? He's a leader in the Jiangqing military district. Wang Peng. Yang Jinxian was stunned. I met him a few times when I was at the Song family. He seems to be a good friend of Song Jinming. I heard Wang Peng and Song Jinming talking to each other. Wang Peng was the one who sent someone to kill Song Guangming, precisely so that Song Jinming could take over the Song family. What? Yang Jinxian was dumbfounded. Wang Peng. That's right. Shen Hing nodded. They said it themselves. Yang Jinxian didn't doubt the truth of these words at all. She knew that previously, Shen Heng was just an online writer. He basically had no social circle. As for the Song family, it was even more impossible for Shen Heng to come into contact with them. For him to be able to name Wang Peng, it naturally couldn't be groundless. Besides, Song Guangming was already dead, and she had become Shen Heng's woman. There was absolutely no need for Shen Heng to deceive her. Her eyes suddenly turned red. She knew that the car accident back then was very bizarre. The person she suspected the most was her husband's younger brother, Song Jinming. But unfortunately, because there was no evidence, she could only give up. So it turned out that Song Jinming was the one playing tricks behind everything. I will avenge your late husband for you, Shen Heng said gently. He also had to thank that late husband. If he hadn't passed away, how could he have the chance to enjoy a great beauty like Yang Jinxian? Anyway, he was going to go against the Song family regardless. In the future, when he killed Song Jinming, it could be considered a way to thank her late husband. Just now, he had discovered many new moves and novel positions. This was something the naive Huo Miao had never done. Now, he finally understood the heart of Chaomingda. Understand Chaomingda, become Chaomingda, surpass Chaomingda. He suddenly remembered that Yang Jinxian had previously told Huo Miao that she had an incredibly beautiful best friend whose husband had lost contact in this apocalyptic situation. Losing contact was almost no different from being dead. In other words, did Yang Jinxian want to introduce a new sister into this house? Things were different now. Previously, Huo Miao was the only woman in Shen Heng's house, so Shen Heng naturally kept his guard up. But now, he had completely let his guard down around Huo Miao. With Huo Miao looking after the house, Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan wouldn't be able to cause any waves. Moreover, Shen Heng really couldn't think of any reason for them to betray him. He had provided them with a warm room and all kinds of supplies to enjoy. So how could they possibly betray him? Let's just consider it adding one more woman. Shen Heng narrowed his eyes. He was going to become the top ability user in the entire world, so why should he worry about internal conflicts? The stronger he was, the more these women would follow him with absolute devotion. Oh right, you told Miao Miao before that I couldn't force Mushuan, but you would introduce a friend, Shen Heng said with a squinting smile. Yang Mushuan, who was standing up to clear the dishes, suddenly stumbled and shot him a sideways glance. Men are all like this, so useless. He just got my sister, and now he can't wait for her to introduce her friends? I didn't lie to you, Yang Jinxian pouted. Hubby, you just got me, and you're already this impatient? Huo Miao also pinched Shen Heng's waist. Hubby, aren't you being a bit too fickle? She just came to our house. Shouldn't you try to cultivate some feelings with her first? Now you're already dreaming about a new sister. Aren't you afraid your body won't be able to handle it? Haha, just kidding, Shen Heng coughed hastily. I just wanted to make Yang Jinxian laugh. As for women or whatever, I haven't thought that far ahead. Huo Miao had proactively arranged Yang Jinxian for him. Now there were two beautiful women in the house, as pretty as flowers and jade. One was coldly glamorous and sexy, the other was as gentle as water. Their styles were different, but both were country-toppling beauties. Not to mention, there was also Chen Qin and Little Sandgrain. These two beauties were not much inferior to the two at home. Chen Qin still needed some time to cultivate feelings, but Little Sandgrain was practically his for the taking. Just doing some simple math, he already had 4 beauties. Plus, there were the 3 girls at Wang Jie's place. Of course, Shen Heng was just playing around with them and wouldn't actually develop any real feelings. It was just for fun. Even Wang Jie wouldn't have feelings for them, so why should he talk about feelings with them? It was just a mutually beneficial relationship based on needs. I'm going to bed first. Seeing Shen Heng hugging 2 beauties with a very smug look on his face, Yang Mushuan cleared the dishes and turned to go into the bedroom. She didn't understand why, but seeing Shen Heng like that always made her feel a bit angry. Could it be that I actually like this scumbag? Back in the bedroom, she buried her head in the blanket and shook her head firmly. Impossible. This is my brother-in-law. Besides, we've never even had any connection. How could I like him? Especially a womanizer like him. It must be because too much has happened lately, and I'm too tired. I'll be fine after a good sleep. She lay on the large, comfortable bed. The room was warm and cozy. Just covering herself with a thin blanket felt incredibly comfortable. Moreover, it was already past midnight. Her tense nerves from the past few days could finally relax a bit. But no matter what she did, she couldn't fall asleep. Her sister's words kept echoing in her mind. Originally, Huamiao wanted her and her sister to serve Shun Heng together. How could that be? Even though Shun Heng was in her room, Yang Muxuan couldn't bring herself to hate him. It was probably because he had agreed to take in and help her and her sister. For some reason, she thought of the sounds of her sister playing cards coming from the bedroom right before the meal. Yang Muxuan was grown up. She fully understood what those sounds meant. Her sister seemed to be enjoying it very much. Moreover, after playing cards with Shun Heng, she completely let loose, hugging Shun Heng and calling him hubby. As her biological sister, Yang Muxuan could tell that the happy smile on her sister's face wasn't fake. Was that kind of thing really that comfortable? Her sister seemed as if she had been bewitched by Shun Heng. She couldn't help but feel a bit hot and dry, tossing and turning in bed. Finally, staring at the ceiling, it took her a long time to fall asleep. Outside the room, Shun Heng was hugging Huamiao and Yang Jinxian, sitting on the sofa. With beauties in his arms, the two of them even held fruit and proactively fed it to his mouth. This was truly an emperor-like enjoyment. Hubby, how about you stay with Sister Jean tonight? It's getting late, Huamiao said gently. Shun Heng patted Huamiao's butt. This woman really thought of him in every way. Yang Jinxuan's face was flushed red. Leaning shyly against Shun Heng's shoulder, she whispered, "Thank you, Sister Miao. Hubby, it's past 2 o'clock. Let me serve you." Shun Heng was very good at playing cards. She had just tasted that feeling. It could even be said that in her years of marriage, she had never felt that from Song Guangming. She couldn't help but want to play poker with Shun Heng again. Thinking of Shun Heng's strong body, she felt a bit hot and dry. Shun Heng was also itching unbearably, but he suddenly thought of something and asked, "What time is it?" "It's past 2 o'clock. Is something wrong?" Yang Jinxian asked blankly. "Last night, it seemed to be around this time that he upgraded the system to level 10, right?" He immediately focused his mind on the consciousness space. However, after entering, the space was still pitch black. A countdown timer was still floating in the air, ticking away. The time until the upgrade finished was only 15, 14, 13, just over 10 minutes left. Shun Heng withdrew. Tonight, he obviously had to wait until the system upgrade was complete, eat the ability fruit, and then go to sleep. There was still a little time. Should he play cards with Huamiao and Yang Jinxian for a bit? Remembering the crazy night at Wang Jie's villa, he felt a bit nostalgic. "I still have some things to take care of. You guys go back first. When I'm done, we'll sleep under one big blanket." Shun Heng patted the two of them. "Hee hee, you're so naughty. You want both of us to serve you at the same time," Huamiao said in a coquettish tone. "But since hubby requested it, what else can I say?" Yang Jinxian didn't speak, just blushed and lowered her head. Su Chao returned home with a cold face. As soon as he entered the door, he kicked the flat-screen TV worth over 10,000 yuan, shattering it with a loud crash. Feng Lu was scared out of her wits. She was just about to scold Su Chao and ask if he was crazy, but seeing his ferocious face, reason made her swallow her words. "Huamiao, Huamiao." Su Chao's eyes were bloodshot, and he gritted his teeth. "You actually dared to cheat on me, you slut." If Shun Heng were in front of him, he would definitely spit in his face. The magistrate is allowed to set fires, but the commoners aren't even allowed to light lamps? You fucking hooked up with Feng Lu first, and now you're turning around to blame Huamiao? The double-standard dog Su Chao obviously didn't think that much. In his view, he had sucked up to her for so long. He finally caught Huamiao, and after relentless effort, got her to move into his house. Although they didn't share a bed, Huamiao was definitely his. Her first time would eventually be taken by him. But for some unknown reason, Huamiao found out about his relationship with Feng Lu and broke up with him. Su Chao felt terrible, but with the heavy snow blocking the roads, there was nothing he could do, so he had to agree. However, in his eyes, the breakup was only temporary. Once the snow stopped, He would go find Hua Miao, beg her a bit, and definitely coax her back. After all, they had feelings for each other. But who would have thought that right after breaking up, this bitch Hua Miao would sleep with another man? Remembering those sounds of intimacy just now, his head was buzzing. Slut! Slut! Su Chao, still furious, lifted the TV and smashed it hard onto the ground. This TV was bought by Hua Miao. She said that since she was living at Su Chao's house, she didn't want to owe him anything. Previously, he felt like he had found a pure and flawless girl. Thinking back now, it was all a fucking act to deceive him. Feng Lu curled up on the side, not saying a word. Looking at Su Chao's twisted, crazy features, her eyes flickered. Being with a man with such unstable emotions was really a bit too dangerous. She missed Shenheng's warm house even more. Now, she remembered many of Shenheng's good points. Gentle, obedient, proactive with chores, no bad habits. And most importantly, he always treated her well. A man like that. Where could she find one now? Yet she had actually given him up. She felt a bit of regret in her heart. Later, when Su Chao fell asleep, she would secretly send a video to Shen Heng, confess everything to him, and then have Shen Heng take her away. Shen Heng treated me so well. He'll forgive my momentary lapse of judgment and cheating, right? Besides, I didn't mess around with an outsider. It was just his best friend. At worst, I'll act cute and promise never to do it again. Shen Heng will definitely soften his heart and absolutely won't say much. Having been together for 3 years, Feng Lu was still very confident. She knew exactly what she had over Shen Heng. He responded well to softness, not hardness. Thinking of this, she quietly looked up at Su Chao. Su Chao was panting, a pile of shattered TV at his feet. He turned his head to look at Feng Lu for a moment, then expressionlessly walked into the bedroom, pulled the blanket over himself, shivering, and prepared to sleep. Feng Lu also followed him into the bedroom. Lying together with Su Chao wasn't exactly what she wanted, but huddling together was quite warm. Tomorrow, I'll go downstairs and find Gui Yuping to buy some food, Su Chao said with a slightly hoarse voice. Because he had just smashed the big TV, he had consumed a lot of energy. Little Lu, I made a fool of myself in front of you. It's nothing. It's nothing. Feng Lu waved her hand. Since she didn't plan to stay with Su Chao long-term anyway, there was naturally nothing to care about. What did Hua Miao say to you on the phone just now to make you so angry? Those words hadn't even left his mouth before Su Chao found himself unable to say them. Say that Hua Miao cuckolded him? But they had already broken up. What was there to cuckold or not cuckold? Whoever Hua Miao wanted to sleep with was her freedom, but he just kept bottling up his anger. What exactly was going on? Where was Hua Miao? How could there be a man beside her? Didn't Lu Chenxi pick her up? Thinking of Lu Chenxi, he got even more furious with nowhere to vent. This younger sister who had always treated him with all her heart actually dared to hang up on him. He didn't care what time it was and directly picked up his phone, calling Lu Chenxi's number again. At this time, Lu Chenxi and Wang Qingguang had finished their battle. She lay asleep, looking exhausted. Wang Qingguang stroked her face. His heart was full of pride. As expected of an athlete, her physique was truly different from ordinary people. Moreover, she could perform difficult moves, opening his eyes. The old wife at home really couldn't compare to Lu Chenxi. In the future, maybe I should treat this younger sister a bit better. My life was saved by her. I just hope the old wife at home freezes to death in this weather. That way, I can openly be with Lu Chenxi. Speaking of the old wife at home, during the 4 days of snow, she only called to check on me on the first day. For the rest of the days, she hasn't asked about me at all. Wang Qingguang frowned. Just then, Lu Chenxi's phone vibrated slightly. Who's calling at night? As soon as he picked it up to look, Wang Qingguang's face turned even uglier. Su Chao was calling. Knowing the relationship between Su Chao and Lu Chenxi, he instantly revealed a cold smile. I'd like to see if you'll die of anger when you find out Lu Chenxi is now my woman. He pressed the answer button. Hello? Chenxi, I told you to pick up Hua Miao. How are you doing things? And why did you hang up on me just now? What's going on with Hua Miao? Wang Qingguang gave a wicked smile, took a deep breath, and lowered his voice into the phone. She's tired. She's already asleep. Su Chao's hand suddenly trembled. The nightmare, like a bubble, clung to him again. He wanted to say something else, but Wang Qingguang had already hung up. Su Chao went numb, turning his head stiffly. Looking at the vast white snow outside the window, he remained silent. This world seemed to have turned into a strange place, making it impossible for him to recognize. Beside Lu Chenxi, why is there another man? Are you guys fucking playing with me? Both men said the exact same words. He pulled his hair hard, then slapped himself fiercely in the face twice. Feng Lu huddled in the dark corner of the bed, looking tense. Su Chao is crazy. Why does his mental state become so much more unstable every time he finishes a phone call? Ha 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 ha. Su Chao suddenly burst out laughing. His laughter grew louder and louder, and Feng Lu became more and more terrified. Sluts. They're all sluts. Su Chao's eyes were filled with hatred. Hua Miao is, Lu Chenxi is too. And you? He suddenly turned his head, looking at Feng Lu. You won't betray me like those two sluts, will you? I naturally won't. Feng Lu suddenly snapped back to reality. She forced a smile at Su Chao. I knew it. Little Lu, you love me the most. Su Chao pulled Feng Lu into his arms, a twisted smile appearing on his face. Feng Lu trembled in his embrace. She had now changed her mind. Outside, the world was covered in white snow and ice, and many people had already died. If she secretly contacted Shen Hong behind Su Chao's back, once he found out, with Su Chao's erratic temper now, he would probably kill her immediately. So many people had died already. Adding one more wouldn't make a difference. If she wanted to survive, she could only cooperate with Su Chao. She looked up and said gently to Su Chao, although I don't know what exactly happened with those two, rest assured, I will always be by your side. We used to argue and get mad at each other, but that's all in the past. Why do you still care about those sluts? Su Chao paused, his smile deepening. That's right. Why should I care about them? They're just sluts. The one I love the most is still you, little Lu. Right now, we still need to plan carefully on how to get into Shun Heng's house. Feng Lu stood up and threw the broken TV into the fire. A moment later, the flames burned more fiercely, warming the room up a bit. She turned to look at Su Chao. There's nothing left to burn in the house. The most urgent thing now is to get into Shun Heng's house. I'll send a video to Shun Heng right now, telling him that we had a huge fight and went our separate ways, and beg him to take me in. But you absolutely cannot show your face. Hide first, remember? Pausing for a moment, she added, don't worry. No matter what, I won't leave you. In this harsh weather, we can only survive if we work together. At least you can cook instant noodles and stuff, but I don't know how to do anything. Without you, I wouldn't be able to survive. As for that loser Shen Hong, since I chose to follow you before, I naturally won't go back to him. A good horse doesn't eat the grass behind it, let alone me, Feng Lu. Su Chao remained silent, just hugging Feng Lu tightly. After a while, he let her go and nodded, saying, then I'll go hide in the bathroom first. Feng Lu watched Su Chao enter the bathroom and breathed a sigh of relief. She was terrified. Su Chao's expression just now was like that of a perverted killer. However, a person like that seemed to be the best partner to cooperate with, didn't he? People in the residential area had already started looting supplies. Some people who managed to buy supplies had them snatched away by others, and, making a fortune in harmony, completely ignored it, not bothering to intervene. If they got into Shen Heng's house, would it be safe? If people found out they were hiding supplies, wouldn't they be robbed too? Su Chao's current state actually made her feel that a man like him could protect her well and take her along to survive in this world covered in white snow. Hua Miao and Yang Jinxian went up to the master bedroom on the second floor. Shen Heng went to wash his face, his heart full of anticipation, waiting for the system upgrade to finish. At this moment, his phone suddenly rang. Taking it out to look, Feng Lu was sending a video call again. What a buzzkill, Shen Heng sighed. The video call even caused this old, worn-out phone to freeze completely. At a crucial time like this. Why is this jinx Feng Lu sending a video call? She's affecting my luck. Seeing the video call disconnected, Feng Lu called back several times, but no one answered. She tried calling Shun Heng's phone directly, but this guy's phone was turned off. Anger flared in her eyes. Shen Heng, oh Shen Heng, I gave you a chance. It's your own fault for being useless. If you reject this opportunity, then I'll have to stick closely with Su Chao. Once we find your house, you can just go die? Shen Heng naturally didn't know that he had been sentenced to death in Feng Lu's heart, and that Feng Lu originally really wanted to return to his side. Even if he knew, Shen Heng would openly despise it. It was truly laughable. A traitor, a discarded worn-out shoe. How could he possibly still want her? Not to mention, in his previous life, he had been stabbed in the back by both of them, so he would be even less forgiving. Feng Lu wanted Shun Heng dead. Well, Shun Heng was no different. However, he wouldn't let Feng Lu die easily. He would make her suffer every torment until she died. Ding. Host, your vending machine has reached level 10. The system's first major upgrade is complete. Please check it yourself. He didn't have to wait long. A cold, mechanical voice suddenly echoed in Shun Heng's mind. His eyes lit up, and he immersed himself in the consciousness space, returning to the familiar area inside. Every time the vending machine finished upgrading, the space would grow a bit larger. After the vending machine reached level 10, the entire space was over 200 cubic meters. But this time, with the system upgrade, the space expanded by more than double. Shun Heng estimated it was nearly 1,000 cubic meters. Right in the center of the space stood a vending machine. It looked a bit more aesthetically pleasing than before, radiating a sparkling light. Shun Heng walked up to the vending machine and saw a line of text displayed on its screen. The host has successfully upgraded the vending machine to level 10. A gift has been rewarded and placed in the vending machine's collection slot. Please check it yourself. Additionally, the host has formed a deep bond with the vending machine. You can now check the host's physical attributes on the vending machine. Physical attributes? Shun Heng was stunned. He exited this notification and then saw that in the vending machine sales menu, there was now a return option. Previously, he could only directly select and buy various items. But now, the entire interface had changed. There were only two options: personal information and purchase supplies. Only by selecting purchase supplies would the search bar appear to search for and buy items. He clicked on personal information. The screen then switched, displaying an image of a young man. It was a 3D character, but it looked exactly like Shun Heng. Next to it were various attribute stats. Host, Shun Heng. Current level, 10. Personal assets, 15.662 million yuan. Strength, 5. Stamina, 6. Speed, 6. Specialty, 8. Personal assets must be the remaining money. It was mainly thanks to the 20 million from that rich kid Wang Jie that Shun Heng successfully upgraded the vending machine to level 10. However, right now, he only had about 13 million left, which was barely enough to reach the next level. As for the attributes, the first three were quite normal. However, the specialty attribute made Shun Heng a bit puzzled. But very quickly he understood. What kind of proper system is this? Shun Heng cursed inwardly. It even lists this out? And I'm clearly 18. On what basis did you write 8 for me? The system is slandering me. However, he then noticed a plus sign behind each stat. Could it be that these physical qualities could all be enhanced? Shun Heng's eyes lit up. He tried clicking the plus sign next to strength. Is this attribute on a 10-point scale? That would mean his stamina and speed barely met the standard, while his strength was far behind. As a manly man, how could he let his strength fall behind? But after clicking it, a notification popped up. Currently, enhancing 1 point of strength costs 100,000 yuan. Are you sure? 100,000 yuan. To the current Shun Heng, this was truly just a drop in the bucket. He immediately raised his strength by 5 points, maxing it out at 10. His personal assets correspondingly decreased by 500,000 yuan. Very quickly, he was automatically ejected from the consciousness space. At the same time, his entire body felt as if it were being bitten and torn by ants crawling all over him. The pain was unbearable. Shun Heng's forehead was covered in hot sweat as he tried his best to endure it. A few minutes later, this feeling instantly disappeared. Shun Heng breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't rush to enter the consciousness space, but stood up and tried gently moving his arms and leg joints. They all let out cracking sounds. He clenched his fists and immediately felt a surge of immense power. It really works. Shun Heng looked ecstatic. He glanced at his phone again and found that all the assets in it had, at this moment, become 0. Was it all directly absorbed by the system? What a formidable system. There wasn't even a single notification on his phone. Clicking open the transaction history details, the previous balance all showed as transferred and paid to something called Super Vending Machine. Who the hell? Is this artificial intelligence? However, this was indeed convenient for him. After all, The people outside had many complicated transfer methods. In the future, when they ran out of money, they would very likely use jewelry and gems to pay off debts. The system had mentioned before that it also accepted jewelry. It could directly take the money collected and automatically transfer it all into the vending machine's balance, saving him from having to operate it twice. As for now, Shin Heng's eyes shifted. Naturally, he wanted to increase his specialty. I am 18, not 8. Shin Heng stood in front of the vending machine for the second time. He noticed that after strength became 10, the plus sign had turned gray and could no longer be enhanced. Is 10 the limit? Shin Heng looked doubtful. He also increased speed and stamina to 10. His assets instantly lost 800,000 yuan. He was pushed out of the consciousness space for the second time. That numb, swelling, and painful sensation enveloped him once again. This time, perhaps because he had increased multiple attributes at once. Shin Heng was in so much pain that tears streamed down his face. Just as he let out a sound of agony, he hurriedly grabbed a throw pillow from the sofa and bit down hard on it. If Huo Miao and Yang Jinxian heard him, they would definitely run down in worry, and there would be absolutely no way to explain it to them. Shin Heng twisted his body, rolling around on the sofa. After a while, this feeling vanished in an instant. Drenched in sweat and panting heavily, he managed to sit up with great difficulty. Standing up and just moving around lightly, he found that he seemed as light as a swallow. Even jumping in place, he jumped much higher than before. As for stamina, that would need to be tested slowly. However, it was very clear that he felt his senses had also improved quite a bit. But like stamina, he would only be able to gradually feel it later. Returning to the consciousness space for the second time. Looking at the stats, apart from specialty, everything else had become 10. Similarly, the plus signs had turned gray, and the attributes could no longer be enhanced. I'm going to max you out too. Shin Heng made up his mind and clicked the plus sign. But the system popped up a notification again. Currently, enhancing 1 point of specialty costs 1 million yuan. Are you sure? Good lord, this thing costs 10 times more than the other stats? 1 point of specialty could already buy an ability fruit. It was truly too expensive. Shin Heng's heart ached, but he was completely unwilling to give up. It's at 8 right now, right? I'd like to see what changes will happen when it's raised to 10. He directly increased it to 10. Then he proactively exited the system, lying on the sofa waiting for the pain to hit. I am a tough guy. What is this little bit of pain? Wait a minute. It won't be in that place, will it? I might not be able to handle that. However, the imagined pain never appeared. Instead, a warm current surged in his lower abdomen. Comfortable. This feeling was incredibly comfortable. It was just that a moment later, it vanished completely. Shin Heng stood up, trying to feel it a few more times. Then, feeling unsatisfied, he took out a measuring tape. He looked around. There was no one in the room, so he felt at ease to measure it a bit. Isn't this system scamming people? I'm clearly 18, but the size seems to have actually gotten a bit bigger. Shin Heng's face was full of doubt. Or does this mean specialty is an overall evaluation? But at this moment, the door to the first-floor bedroom suddenly opened. Yang Muxuan stepped out, rubbing her eyes. Brother-in-law, I heard you scream tragically just now. What's wrong with you? She saw Shin Heng holding a measuring tape, measuring himself. Her entire mind went blank. Shin Heng also hadn't expected this. His tragic scream just now hadn't woken up Huo Miao and Yang Jinxian, but Yang Muxuan had stepped out of the bedroom. Holding the tape measure in his hand, he looked at Yang Muxuan, also completely dumbfounded. A moment later, Yang Muxuan let out a scream, turned around, and ran back into the bedroom. Shin Heng was scared out of his wits. He hurriedly threw the tape measure into the space, pulled up his pants, and hastily laid down on the sofa. What's wrong? Upstairs, Huo Miao and Yang Jinxian, who were chatting, heard the scream downstairs and hurriedly ran down. Hubby, what's wrong with Muxuan? Yang Jinxian asked anxiously. I don't know. Shin Heng waved his hands innocently. I'm the one who was taken advantage of. Who knew that girl was still awake after all this time? She suddenly ran out and saw me, but I didn't even get a good look at her. What a loss. I'm fine. From the first-floor bedroom, Yang Muxuan's voice drifted out. I'm really fine. Yang Jinxian walked to the bedroom door, still a little worried. Yang Muxuan's cheeks were flushed red as she buried her head deep in the blanket and said loudly, I'm really okay. I just couldn't sleep well. I had another nightmare about the Song family. You should go to bed. Yang Jinxian nodded, not doubting her at all. She was a little worried about her sister. She wanted to sleep in the same room with her sister, to stay by her side, but she didn't know what to say. Could she tell her sister, "I'm Shun Heng's woman now, so you can rest easy here"? Besides, Shin Heng had just told her and Huo Miao to go upstairs first. He said he wanted to come up and hold them both while they slept. Yang Jinxian thought of that too. After making sure her sister was okay, she looked at Shun Heng and whispered, "Honey, when are you coming up?" "I'll be up in a little while." Shun Heng waved his hand and said with a smile, "I still have some things to take care of." "Okay." Yang Jinxian nodded obediently. She already knew that harmony breeds wealth was Shun Heng. Shun Heng wasn't selling the goods today. He was leaving it to Gui Yubing to handle. He probably had to make arrangements for Gui Yubing as well. Huo Miao was right. Now that I'm his woman, the stronger he is, the better I'll be able to survive. As for his secrets, if he doesn't want to talk about them, I absolutely shouldn't be curious. "Honey, we'll be waiting for you then." Huo Miao smiled sweetly, gave Shun Heng a kiss on the cheek, and pulled Yang Jinxian back to the second-floor bedroom. When the entire villa fell silent once more, Shun Heng let out a sigh of relief. That scared the hell out of me. His gaze shifted to Yang Mushuan's bedroom. Maybe I should go in right now. Have a little chat with this sister-in-law of mine. She saw me, so I have to see her in return. That's the only way to call it even, right? I can't just let her take advantage of me for nothing. Then again, if I really said that, I'm afraid Yang Mushuan would be completely terrified. Remembering the dazed way she stared at his package, Shun Heng couldn't help but want to laugh. He sat up again, sank into his consciousness, and went to the vending machine. In his personal attributes panel, everything had turned to 10, and the plus signs behind them had all grayed out. It was clear they couldn't be increased any further. I wonder when these attributes can be upgraded again. He squatted down and from the vending machine's exit found a small, exquisite box. The box was only the size of his palm. Shin Heng couldn't help but complain. This system's gift, it's not going to be a necklace or some other piece of jewelry, is it? What good would that do? But when he opened the box, he was completely stunned. Inside the box was a grayish-brown fruit, an ability fruit. Shin Heng stared at the fruit and gulped hard. I can't believe it. The system actually gave me this. I thought I'd be buying an ability fruit from the vending machine tonight, but instead, the machine just gave me one. The grayish-brown ability fruit gave off a pure and fresh fragrance. Without a moment's hesitation, Shun Heng swallowed it whole. Instantly, a searing heat filled his stomach. He had consumed an ability fruit in his previous life, so he knew what was happening. A golden core began to form in his lower abdomen. A powerful warm current originated from his lower region and then coursed through his entire body. After circulating once through the meridians and blood vessels of his whole body, this warm current finally settled in his lower abdomen. It began to move, contract, and finally hardened into a brilliant golden orb. I have an ability. The lower abdomen is the core location for an ability user, and also a critical area to protect. The formation of the golden orb is the mark of an ability user. Shin Heng thought for a moment and instantly understood what his ability was in this life. I never thought. Shin Heng had never expected that in this life, he would possess an ability, and a fire-type one at that. Am I really so fated to be with fire? He shook his head slightly, his mind full of thoughts. With a flick of his finger, a small flame suddenly appeared. In his previous life, he was already proficient in using all kinds of flames, so now, upon reacquiring this familiar ability, he naturally had no trouble at all. However, in this harsh ice and snow apocalypse, a fire-type ability seemed rather weak. As a combat ability, it was completely countered by this weather. It was basically useless. If it were an ice-type ability like Su Chao's, it would be much better. As for this fire ability, Shin Heng shook his head again and sighed. At least I have an ability now. Although it's still quite weak, it's very convenient for starting a fire to cook when surviving in the wild, isn't it? Shin Heng laughed self-deprecatingly. What's so great about a fire ability? I still haven't bought an ability fruit from the vending machine yet. I can buy them after level 10. Can't I awaken several other powerful abilities? Like X-ray vision, teleportation, invisibility, or the Thousand Faces illusion technique. He typed the words, ability fruit, into the vending machine's interface. Immediately, the icon of the grayish-brown ability fruit appeared. The buy text below, it was finally no longer grayed out. So I can buy ability fruits now. Shinhang's face lit up with joy, and he quickly entered the number 10 in the quantity box. I'll buy 10 to see what they're like. But what he didn't expect was, the very next moment, a notification box popped up. Unable to purchase the requested quantity of items. Please try again. What the hell? Shinhang was stunned. He quickly checked his personal assets. Upgrading his attributes had cost him 33 million, but my account still has 136 million. What on earth is going on? Shinhang changed the number to 9, but the system still notified him that the purchase was impossible. He stared wide-eyed, continuously lowering the number until he was able to buy one ability fruit. At that moment, he disappointedly realized that the buy text below the ability fruit had grayed out again. I can only buy one. Shinhang almost cursed it out loud. When he clicked on the gray text, a system prompt appeared. The purchase limit at the current level is 0. You can purchase again only when your level increases. So that means I have to keep upgrading the vending machine to be able to buy more? What the hell is this? Shinhang had already mentally prepared himself. From now on, I'm going to eat ability fruits to fill my stomach. But who would have thought the vending machine would only sell a single one? It's so stingy. But then again, if the vending machine sold unlimited ability fruits, I wouldn't continue to upgrade it later. This is clearly forcing me to keep spending money. He looked at the ability fruit he had just bought in his hand, then swallowed it whole. A familiar warm current began to flow in his lower abdomen. When this golden warm current returned to his lower abdomen again, what Shinhang didn't expect was that it didn't create another golden core. Instead, it enveloped the original golden core, making the entire core a size larger than before. Shinhang was completely baffled. Then he realized that he hadn't gained a new ability. Instead, his fire-type ability seemed to have become much stronger than before. What the hell is this? Are you messing with me? Shinhang's eyes widened in astonishment. He exited the shopping interface and noticed a small red dot in the upper right corner of the personal information section. He clicked on it. In the personal attributes section, a new line had been added. Ability. Fire ability. Current level 2, volcanic flame. This flame is as hot as volcanic magma, capable of burning even on rock. My fire ability has been upgraded to level 2. The anger in Shinhang's heart gradually dissipated, replaced by growing curiosity, especially about the description below. Volcanic flame, capable of burning even on rock. Shinhang was very familiar with the fire ability he possessed in his previous life. After all, when he went out to search for supplies, he often had to fight with other ability users. He knew just how weak the fire ability was. With the blizzard raging outside, sometimes Shinhang would release a flame, and before it could even reach the opponent, it would be extinguished by a strong gust of wind. It was completely useless and weak. It was said that many ability users with fire abilities, after seeking refuge with major factions, all became support personnel. They helped start fires for cooking, provided warmth, and dispelled the cold. During battles, these fire ability users could only hide and watch. The moment they saw the situation turn bad, they would be ready to flee at any time. Shinhang was the same in his previous life. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so easily killed by Su Chao's ice ability. But now, it seemed his flame had become stronger. Shinhang stroked his chin in thought, then quietly walked out of the room. In the courtyard, the snow had once again thickened considerably. However, the snow wasn't hard enough yet, so every step he took left a deep footprint. However, after all his surrounding attributes were filled, Shinhang discovered that he could easily control his body. Even when walking in the snow, he only sank slightly, no longer sinking deep into it. With just a slight thought, a burning flame would instantly circulate throughout his body, so that even though he was only wearing thin pajamas, he no longer felt any hint of cold. Outside the room, the sky was pitch black. The cold wind still blew, and large snowflakes were still swirling and dancing in the air. Shinhang flicked his finger lightly. A small flame burst forth from his fingertip. The flame was dark red, and even as the cold wind blew past his face, the flame didn't flicker at all. Instead, it continued to burn defiantly. Shinhang's eyes lit up. With a point of his right finger, the flame immediately flew into a snowdrift. A small hole appeared in the snowdrift, and that hole was very deep. Inside the snow hole, the flame didn't even go out, but continued to burn fiercely. Shunhung looked through the opening, watching the flame burn for a while. Only then did it gradually die down. A look of joy appeared on his face. It seems that even though I awakened a fire ability again in this life, it's much stronger than in my previous life. He wanted to show everyone that a fire ability wasn't just for a cook in the ice and snow apocalypse, but also possessed immense power. The snowflakes fluttered down. As they were about to land on Shunhung, they instantly and completely melted, vanishing without a trace. It was as if Shunhung himself was an eternal, unquenchable flame amidst this world of ice and snow. With all his strength, he activated his ability. Shunhung's entire body turned into a blazing human torch. He stood amidst the flames but didn't feel the slightest burn. I've become a human torch. A smile appeared on Shunhung's face, hidden within the flames, not very clear. I can feel it. My defense and strength have both increased significantly. However, the energy in my body is also depleting very quickly. I estimate that I can maintain this state for about 5 minutes. However, 5 minutes in such a flame state is enough. Fire-type abilities. Previously, Shunhung basically only used them for long-range attacks, but now he is completely confident that, even when facing some physical-type mutants directly, with the added attribute points along with the increased effects from the flame state, I am absolutely not inferior to them, he thought to himself. The flames were burning, and then suddenly, everything vanished. Shunhung returned to his normal human state. Even the clothes on his body did not have a single trace of scorching. Wonderful. Shunhung was extremely satisfied, nodding continuously. Owning this vending machine, as long as I continuously upgrade it, I can continuously receive ability fruits, and myself, I can also raise my strange fire to a higher level. By then, I will also become one of the strongest mutants in Jiang City, Jiang Province, even in the whole country, sitting back on the sofa. Shunhung continued to study the vending machine, looking at the account balance. After buying the ability fruit, 1,360,000 remained. The amount of experience needed to level up from level 11 is 15,024,000. Initially, Shunhung had only reached level 10. But the money he used to buy attributes was all counted towards the vending machine's experience. He also bought another ability fruit. Currently, his experience bar has turned into 4,300,000 out of 10,024,000. The amount of experience has reached nearly half. He felt a bit itchy. The money is enough, so why not continue to upgrade the vending machine again? Said and done immediately. Anyway, making money is to level up. He freely chose to buy from the vending machine. Now the basement already contains a lot of food. He has nothing left to buy. Vegetables, along with drinking water. Can only buy when needed. Anyway, if bought early, everything will freeze. Because he wants to level up, Shunhung directly chooses to buy luxury jewelry. There are 3 women in the house. Just right to give them. Conveniently can also coax them to be satisfied. If they are satisfied, maybe more moves and achievements will be unlocked. Especially when seeing high-end jewelry. Shunhung's eyes lit up even more. This item is really good. He directly bought 50 items. It's just that the unit price is a bit low. Each item only costs 58. However, after shopping for these items, Shunhung seemed to open the door to a new world. Suddenly, he thought of the lingerie section, searched for a while in the vending machine. This made him open his eyes. According to the measurements of Duong Qinhuan and Hongyu, he bought quite a lot. Thinking back to the fact that he bought a necklace for Hongyu, he chose for Duong Qinhuan a necklace belonging to the Cathy diamond line. Quite good. Indeed, this is the tax of love. He also does not understand what is good about this necklace. It looks normal. It is recorded as a classic model, but the selling price has reached more than 500,000. Anyway, it is good. Experience increases quickly. Money has no effect on him. Besides ensuring personal living, the rest is only used to exchange for experience. The more expensive the item, the more money. He will buy that item. Just a moment later, the vending machine was full of items around, and its level finally reached level 11. To upgrade to the next level, need 20,048,000. Shunhung withdrew his gaze. Currently, there are only 4 million left. Thinking about upgrading is undoubtedly just a fantasy. But when looking back at the personal attribute table, he discovered that the surrounding attributes can be bought. Each attribute can only be upgraded once after upgrading each surrounding attribute by 1 point. Shun Hung experienced pain for the second time, but this time, I don't know if it's because he can only upgrade one level, or because his physique has been strengthened. The pain is within the tolerable range. After all the surrounding attributes turned into 11, the plus sign turned gray, not allowing further upgrades. This time, Shun Hung understood clearly. It seems, these surrounding attributes depend on the level of the vending machine. The level of the vending machine has limited the increase of the surrounding attributes. He searched again for the ability fruit. The buy button has returned to its normal color, can be bought. Shun Hung directly bought one, but when preparing to swallow, he suddenly saw on the personal table, behind the ability line there is the number 2 below that number. There is also a small long bar, divided into 2 parts. These 2 blocks are both hiding. This small long bar, why does it look so much like an experience bar? Shun Hing frowned, suddenly feeling vigilant. Now the strange fire is at level 2. Does it mean, to upgrade to level 3, it still needs to swallow 2 more ability fruits? So if I swallow this one now, won't it still not upgrade? The ability fruit is extremely precious. If swallowed and cannot upgrade, then it is no different from wasting. The system is so dog-like. It is very likely that it is like that. Shun Hung became smarter. Finally, suppressing the temptation of the ability fruit, he put it in the system's small box, temporarily put it in his personal space. Anyway, he has tried it. The speed of time inside the space will stop flowing. The effect of the ability fruit will not be lost. If this ability fruit cannot help his strange fire increase to level 3, for himself, it has no great effect. On the contrary, it can help a normal person get an ability for a normal person. This is a huge upgrade. This ability fruit, or give it to Hong Mu. Shun Hung hesitated a bit. He does not doubt Hong Mu's feelings for him. If tomorrow, Vu Bang can consume a large amount of supplies, then he can quickly continue to upgrade the vending machine. By then, he can hold 2 ability fruits, and his strange fire will definitely upgrade. In the situation of holding a level 3 strange fire, the fire human state will definitely be more prolonged. When Shun Hung has more powerful strength, he can start dealing with the Tong family. 5 minutes of duration, in short, is still a bit dangerous. He is not sure, after turning into a fire human, whether he can withstand guns or not. The Tong family has guns. Moreover, after the fire human state ends, the duration is long. He will fall into a weakened state. Although he can reluctantly launch fire attacks, his combat power has decreased a lot. Moreover, Shun Hung does not want to easily reveal his true identity. If he can destroy the Tong family without anyone knowing, then everything will be much easier. Currently, if he reveals his identity, the fact that he has abilities will become a target for attack. Shun Hing is still very clear about the principle of getting rich quietly. That's it. Wait until tomorrow to see how the business is. Now the space consciousness has recovered, he can sell a large amount of supplies. Believe in Quatch. Vu Bang is not a stupid person, will not hide his supplies. Anyway, in this type of weather, where can Vu Bang hide? The number of core subordinates is still too small. Shun Hung suddenly remembered Tan Dai Jia in the apartment complex. Now he is not at ease with Quatch, Vu Bang, and Tru Oi Long. But Tan Dai Jia can be trusted. As a person who has lived 2 lives, he knows Tan Dai Jia's character clearly. Moreover, in the previous life, if it weren't for Tan Dai Jia, he would have died early. It would not be the turn of Tu Siu and Feng Lu to take action. Mutants from other apartment complexes. Because they discovered supplies at the same time, they fought with Shun Hung, leading to competition, fighting. Shun Hung, such a fire-type chef, is basically not an opponent of physical-type mutants, was beaten to the point of gasping at the critical moment. Tan Dai Jia appeared. Without hesitation, he took action to kill the enemy, then saved Shun Hung, and even let the little nurse Fo Qiu truck bandage the wounds for Shun Hung, while taking care of his body for 2 days. During these 2 days, Tan Dai Jia also often provided him with food and drink. Even medicine, life-saving grace, must be repaid like a spring source. Moreover, this is just an ability fruit. Tan Dai Jia's character is reliable. As long as he invites, he will definitely come, can provide supplies, and can also make him stay in a warm room. Why not do it? Hearing the old lady say, the 2 adjacent villas on the west side are hers. Moreover, they are all decorated, just not as luxuriously decorated as Villa number 4. Then just let Tandai Jia stay at Villa number 5 next door is the best. He has arranged landmines and bombs around. Tandai Jia will also be at ease there. By then, security work, just leave it to Tandai Jia. As for True Oilong, he just needs to be at ease following him. Waiting for the green tree to grow ability fruits later, he will also reward him. Let him also become his little brother. Like that, Dongguan apartment complex will be completely controlled by him. By then, start occupying other apartment complexes. Just decide like that. Shun Heng nodded in satisfaction. Seeing the time was past 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Upstairs there are still 2 beautiful beauties waiting for him. He stood up, quickly went upstairs to the 2nd floor. In the room, the 2 women were still chatting, but kept yawning. It's so late. Is the husband coming up or not? The 2 women were anxious, but no one spoke. After seeing Shun Heng appear, Hongyu jumped up from the bed, jumped into his arms. Husband, why so long? Hongyu pouted. Why are you so anxious to wait? Shun Heng hugged her with a teasing intention. Someone is really both chicken and addicted to playing. Hateful. Hongyu's face turned red, pouting and saying, I am tonight, and also need sister's help. Turned her head to look at Duan Qinhuan, but found her lying on the bed without moving, pretending to sleep. Hongyu winked at Shun Heng. Shun Heng immediately understood and pounced. Duan Qinhuan was ready to be hugged by Shun Heng. Her body trembled slightly. Husband, it hasn't started yet. The next afternoon, Shun Heng woke up, looked at the 2 women sleeping soundly beside him, feeling very proud in his heart. Last night, all 3 of them played landlord together all night long. Shun Heng, the person playing the landlord, always won in every game. This made him very surprised and stunned. His combat power seemed to have increased a lot. He himself did not feel weak. On the contrary, after a night of rest, he was even more energetic. Reaching out to hug Duan Qinhuan, he heard her talking in her sleep. Husband, you are really amazing. Shun Heng laughed. Once again pulled her into the card game in her surprised eyes. Whenever he won the game, when Duan Qinhuan was completely exhausted, Shun Heng turned his head, saw that Hongyu had woken up. He discussed another round with Hongyu. Hongyu also had to admit defeat. At this time, Shun Heng felt refreshed, comfortably got out of bed to wash his face. Going downstairs, he immediately saw Yang Mushuan, with dark circles under her eyes and a resentful expression, cooking. Mushuan, you're up early. Shun Heng greeted with a laugh. Early? Brother-in-law, it's already noon. Yang Mushuan pouted. Last night, she couldn't sleep well at all. Although the villa's soundproofing was good, she couldn't stand the sounds that occasionally drifted over. She listened until early this morning before she could finally doze off. But just now, she heard her sister's voice again. Yang Mushuan couldn't take it anymore, so she got out of bed to cook. Don't they have any restraint at all? Shun Heng didn't continue the conversation, but sat on the sofa scrolling through his phone. After one night, the number of people chatting in the homeowners group had decreased significantly again. There were still people complaining about the weather, but very few. It seemed everyone had accepted their fate. The rest were messages from people exchanging supplies. The weather had suddenly become freezing cold. Many people with weak immune systems, along with the elderly and children, had fallen ill. They were all begging everyone in the group, using supplies to exchange for medicine. It was just that medicine was scarce. Moreover, making a fortune in Harmony, sold it very expensively. Now everyone had gotten smarter. No one dared to accept it anymore. Illu Feishing. Does anyone have ibuprofen for sale? My child is sick and needs medicine urgently. Thank you. Shun Heng let out a sound of surprise. Wasn't this the person who sold medicine to Shuangda Machinery Repair last night? Shuangda Machinery Repair was the shop opposite Ning Jiao's. He had wanted to buy diasmectite from Shun Heng, but because Shun Heng priced it at 50,000, he directly reached a deal with Illu Feishing in the group, using 2 packs of instant noodles to exchange for the medicine. At that time, Shun Heng scoffed in disdain. This person named Illu Feishing was still too stupid. Food and drinks could be bought from him, but medicine was so scarce. Not to mention, he had stated clearly that 1 box of medicine sold for 50,000. Yet he wanted to use medicine to exchange for 2 packs of noodles. It was truly speechless. Unexpectedly, after just one night, his own child fell ill. And what surprised him even more was that in the group, Shuangda Machinery Repair spoke up again. Shuangda Machinery Repair. At Illu Feishing bro, is your child having a fever? I still have some ibuprofen at home. Ilu Feishing was overjoyed and hurriedly tagged him in the group. Ilu Feishing, at Shuangda Machinery Repair brother, I gave you diasmectite last night. Can you give me this ibuprofen? Shuangda Machinery Repair was a bit angry. Shuangda Machinery Repair. Big bro, that diasmectite last night. You didn't give it to me. You sold it to me. I used 2 packs of noodles to exchange for it. Ilu Feishing. Right, I misspoke. Then sell that ibuprofen to me. I'll give you back the 2 packs of noodles. Shuangda Machinery Repair. Sorry, big bro. You should ask around clearly. The medicine from making a fortune in Harmony is sold for 50,000. On what grounds should I sell ibuprofen to you for just 2 packs of noodles? Ilu Feishing. What do you mean by this? Shuangda Machinery Repair. I'm not an unreasonable person either. How about this? You give me 10 packs of noodles, and I'll give you the ibuprofen. How about it? Ilu Feishing. Glare, why don't you just go rob someone? I just saved your child last night. How can you treat me like this? Shuangda Machinery Repair. Then I'm sorry, bro. You should ask someone else. Oh right, the diasmectite works great. I'm going to give my child the medicine now. Ilu Feishing. At Shuangda Machinery Repair, how can you do things like this? A person can't be without a conscience. Ilu Feishing. At Shuangda Machinery Repair, come out here and talk. Ilu Feishing. At Shuangda Machinery Repair, don't play dead. I sold you the medicine so easily, and yet you pull this kind of trick. Ilu Feishing. At Shuangda Machinery Repair. Shen Heng was overjoyed. These two were truly too funny. In the apocalypse, whoever kept their kindness would die the fastest. This person, Ilu Feishing, was a very typical example. Want to be a good person? Fine, do it in your next life. He sold medicine cheaply for just 2 packs of noodles. But how did the other person treat him? Survival is already this difficult. Who would still remember the good deeds you've done? After some more time passes, the situation will get even worse. Sympathy and pity will only accelerate your death. Yang Mushuan's cooking skills were not bad. Very quickly, Shen Heng smelled the fragrant aroma of the food. Looking up, his sister-in-law had already brought all the well-stir-fried dishes to the table. Meanwhile, Hua Miao and Yang Jinxian also sluggishly walked down from upstairs. The 2 girls were beaming with radiant smiles. Especially Yang Jinxian, who no longer had her previous worry and fear. She looked exactly like a beautiful young married woman in the prime of her youth, making it impossible for people to take their eyes off her. She cast a deeply affectionate and sincere glance at Shen Heng, then sat close beside him. Xian, why do you have dark circles under your eyes? Didn't sleep well? You have the nerve to ask? Yang Mushuan said angrily. Please, I beg you to keep it down a bit. Otherwise, tonight we sisters will swap places, and let's see if you can sleep. Yang Jinshuan's face flushed red. What nonsense are you talking about? What do you mean we sisters will swap places? Who talks like you? I'm protecting you, my good sister. For the sake of our lives, I can sacrifice myself. Hua Miao picked up her chopsticks. Oh my Mushuan, you're too much. You even made fresh oysters. Are you nourishing your brother-in-law? Yang Mushuan whispered. Hubby doesn't need this either. If he gets nourished anymore, I'm afraid even if Sister Mushuan joins in, it won't be enough. Hua Miao's beautiful eyes shifted, looking towards Shen Heng. This made Yang Jinxian waver slightly. That's right. Shen Heng's card-playing skills last night were truly formidable. She had already experienced it. Even joining forces with Hua Miao, they couldn't win. Could it be that her sister would also? No, this is too absurd. How could biological sisters share one husband? In the future, would her sister still be able to find a husband? She herself was already like this anyway. At worst, she would just contentedly be Shen Heng's mistress. Besides, Hua Miao, the main wife, could also accept her. Moreover, Hua Miao's personality was also very good. But her sister was still young. She couldn't let it be like this. She secretly glanced at Shen Heng and found that Shen Heng was staring intently at Yang Mushuan, seemingly lost in a daydream. She couldn't help but pinch Shen Heng's chest lightly. You really do have that intention, don't you? Ahem. Shen Heng snapped back to reality, his face flushing red. Just now, when Yang Mushuan said she wanted to swap places with her sister, he really had thought about it. If it were swapped to her, with the added buff of her being his sister-in-law, would he be able to charge rapidly amidst her cries of brother-in-law? Moreover, Yang Mushuan secretly glanced at him, her eyes seemingly carrying a different meaning. Could it be that the sister-in-law really wants it? Later, I'll call my friend over. Let's see how you handle the three of us. Yang Jinxian leaned close to Shun Heng's ear and whispered. Shun Heng's eyes lit up. That's right, Jean Baby had mentioned it yesterday. She wanted to pull another friend in. So it's going to become a reality? Baby, who is this friend you're talking about? Shun Heng laughed heartily. Look at you, so eager already. Yang Jinxian hit Shun Heng. However, she naturally didn't use any force. Her soft fist felt almost like a tickle. Last night, before Shun Heng came up to the second floor, she had chatted with Hua Miao. Hua Miao said, Shun Heng possessed a massive amount of supplies. But precisely because of this, there would definitely be no shortage of women around him. Instead of guarding against wildflowers outside, it would be better to enrich Shun Heng's garden in both quality and quantity, so he wouldn't have to go out and flirt with other women. Moreover, she had also explained the reason for bringing Yang Jinxian and the others in. This also gave Yang Jinxian a slight sense of urgency. That's right, she wasn't Shun Heng's first woman either, so she had to grasp this opportunity well. Furthermore, she wasn't like Hua Miao, who was just one person. She also brought her sister along. Both sisters wanted to rely on Shun Heng. Only by capturing Shun Heng's heart and making him infatuated with her could they survive with peace of mind in this situation. Therefore, she didn't beat around the bush anymore and said softly, Did you know? In our residential area, there's a beautiful female doctor named Ning Jiao. Not only are her medical skills superb, she's a medical expert specially invited by the Jiangxing People's Hospital, but she's also exceptionally beautiful. Her age is also about the same as mine. Hubby, don't you want a beautiful female doctor wearing a white coat, radiating such brilliant light? Ning Jiao. Hearing this name, Shun Heng was stunned. He hadn't expected that. The sister Yang Jinxian wanted to rope and was actually Ning Jiao, that holy mother from the chat group. This woman, although Shun Heng did indeed need a doctor, and preferably a female doctor, he didn't like Ning Jiao's way of doing things at all. He even felt a bit of aversion towards it. In the apocalypse where it's every man for himself, she actually still wanted to go save people. It was truly laughable. Everyone is selfish. Is she stupid? She even wanted to save people in the group. He had seen Ie Jiqiu step up to save people more than once. Everyone was grateful, treating her like a living bodhisattva. Unfortunately, although Ning Jiao's medical skills were superb, she didn't have much medicine. For many illnesses, she was helpless and could only turn to Shun Heng for help. However, Shun Heng had publicly stated his prices very clearly. Some common medicines cost 50,000, while rarer ones would cost several times more. Whoever wanted to buy could buy. If not, then forget it. Now, Ning Jiao also knew Shun Heng's temper and no longer proactively contacted him. He heard this Dr. Ning was quite beautiful. A woman with superb medical skills and such beauty definitely wouldn't die easily in the apocalypse. However, she could only depend on powerful men, no matter who became the leader. A doctor is an indispensable key profession. Not to mention such a beautiful woman, she would absolutely never be overlooked. Hubby, do you know her? Seeing Shun Heng shake his head slightly, Yang Jinxian felt tense in her heart and hurriedly said, She is still a very... She. Let's talk about this later, Shun Heng replied coldly. My place doesn't house that kind of holy mother bitch. Pausing for a moment, his gaze looked toward the two sisters. Jinxian, you two sisters remember this well. In the apocalypse, you must not have any pity. Otherwise, the ones who suffer will only be yourselves. The two of them didn't speak. Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan naturally knew their own looks very well. Yang Jinxian married into the Song family. Even when her husband died, the younger brother Song Jinming, who took over the Song family, also coveted her. Her younger sister Yang Mushuan was still a graduate student, yet she had already received the flattery and admiration of countless male students. Since you've come here, and Jinxian, you've become my woman, I will naturally do my utmost to protect you. However, if you bring outsiders into the house to help them without my permission, I will absolutely never forgive you. Shun Heng's eyes were cold. Whether it's the elderly or children, without my order, you are not allowed to care about them. Entering this door, you will be warm and well-fed without worries. But outside, there are still many people starving. They can do anything for a bite to eat. The food in your hands. Even if you have to throw it away, You must not casually give it to others. You all know the principle of a man's wealth is his own ruin by causing others greed. So I won't say any more. The two sisters, Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan, trembled, especially Yang Jinxian, whose eyes were a bit red. Last night, she had just experienced the intimacy of husband and wife with Shun Hong. How could he say such words to her? He didn't even call her Jean baby anymore. As for Ning Jiao, Shun Hong shook his head. She insists on saving others, so let her save them. In this situation, what I have in abundance is supplies. Could it be that I would lack beautiful women? There are countless beautiful women in this world. There are also many doctors. Of course, beautiful female doctors. Aren't that many? But I wouldn't go so far as to put myself in any danger for a woman. Ning Jiao's Holy Mother complex is too big. Before she makes any changes, Shun Hong wouldn't accept her. Even if she starved to death, it had absolutely nothing to do with him. I'm full. Shin Heng put down his bowl and chopsticks, stood up, and headed down to the basement. Meow Meow, come down here for a bit. Yes, Huo Miao hurriedly followed behind Shun Heng into the basement. Like performing a magic trick, Shun Heng pulled out the Walther pistols he had prepared and handed them to Huo Miao. Take these 2 guns for self-defense. Pistols? Huo Miao revealed a look of shock. Although she was curious about her husband's superpowers, she hadn't expected her husband to even have this kind of thing. The Dragon Kingdom had such strict gun control. Where did these guns come from? In the future, I might spend less time at home. Remember to keep the guns safe. Shun Heng instructed softly. Today, I'll go out to bury landmines and set up some simple defensive tools. But to ensure your safety, having a gun on you can be considered a means of self-defense. Of course, this is just a temporary measure. In a few days, I'll give you something better, Shun Heng said slowly. More importantly, these 2 guns are for you to guard against the 2 sisters, Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan. In the future, he would spend much less time at home. After all, Yang Jinxian had just arrived last night. Although they had already been intimate, deep down, Shun Heng naturally valued Huo Miao more. Huo Miao was currently following him wholeheartedly and obeyed his every word. Shun Heng was truly very satisfied. If he could only choose one companion in the apocalypse, Shun Heng would only consider Huo Miao. In the future, Shun Heng would also immediately give an ability fruit to Huo Miao. If those 2 sisters have a Holy Mother complex and want to bring any friends or relatives back, I will definitely object, Huo Miao replied with a sincere face. That's right. But there are only the 3 of you women in the house. If those 2 sisters join forces, I'm afraid you won't be able to fight them. Once a situation like that occurs, and you don't have the chance to call me, then just directly eliminate them. Shin Heng's eyes were cold. Huo Miao's eyes widened. According to her husband's meaning, wasn't she holding the power of life and death over the 2 sisters, Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan? If Shun Heng wasn't home and she secretly killed them, it seemed Shun Heng wouldn't blame her either. Hubby. Huo Miao felt warm in her heart and leaned into Shun Heng's embrace. She knew her status in Shun Heng's heart. Silly girl. Shun Heng hugged Huo Miao and said gently, in the future, you don't need to use methods like finding concubines to seek my favor. In my heart, you will always be the most important person. Of course, if I bring women back, don't be jealous, okay? Huo Miao nodded continuously. Okay. I still have some things to do and need to go out for a bit. Shun Heng waved his hand toward the piles of supplies around them. All the supplies were instantly collected into the consciousness space. The room, which was originally packed with items, immediately became empty. I'll leave the house to you. Shun Heng went down to the second basement, instructing Huo Miao, who nodded firmly. After seeing Shun Heng off, she returned to the living room with a joyful expression. Shin Heng's promise made her overjoyed. Not only was she the main wife, but she also had the imperial sword of authority. And Shun Heng definitely wouldn't blame her no matter how ruthless she was. In the apocalypse, even couples married for years could betray each other, let alone Yang Jinxian, who was just accepted last night. Of course, he also didn't hope for Yang Jinxian to betray him. After all, Yang Jinxian had more tricks and schemes than Huo Miao, which could give him an even greater sense of conquest. But he didn't want to come home one day to find his house occupied by strangers, Huo Miao being toyed with, and the 2 sisters, Yang Jinxian and Yang Mushuan, siding with the enemy. Shin Heng absolutely would not accept such a scenario. Women, to Shen Hong, were just like supplies. Only when they passed his tests and gained his approval would he treat them sincerely. If he really wanted to play around, Wang Jie's 3 girlfriends had even more tricks than Yang Jinxian. Just playing around outside and giving them some food and drinks, they would be eagerly waiting for the sugar daddy to visit. Shen Hing stepped out of the basement gate, bought a pickup truck from the vending machine, and then drove straight south. Arriving at the area below the main square, he stopped the car and waved his hand toward the truck bed. In an instant, the empty truck bed was filled with supplies. Shen Hung took out all the supplies, piling quite a lot around the 4 sides of the vehicle. Only then did he send a message to Guo Yuping. Come downstairs. He still didn't want others to see that he had an ability. Guo Yuping had just started following him, so Shen Hung naturally had to be on guard against him, just like how he guarded against Yang Jinxian. However, if in the next few days they could make him feel satisfied, they would naturally be gradually rewarded handsomely. In his previous life, Song Jinming's faction wasn't originally the largest. Boss Zhao Erbao of the Donglin group in the east of the city actually had much stronger power. Under Zhao Erbao's command, there were quite a few brothers. Moreover, he had somehow managed to get his hands on guns, giving him a formidable reputation. Unfortunately, before Zhao Erbao could unify Jiangqing, he was killed by the brother he trusted the most. After that, the Donglin group collapsed, splitting into 4 or 5 large and small factions, no longer as glorious as before. Rumor had it that the person who eliminated Zhao Erbao was bribed by Song Jinming. Waiting until Zhao Erbao was dead, he led quite a few subordinates to join Song Jinming. It was precisely this that helped the Song family rise to become the overlord of the northern district, and at the same time, become one of the top factions in Jiangqing. And the person who came up with this scheme was none other than Guo Yuping. It was also because of this that Guo Yuping gained Song Jinming's trust and was appointed as his strategist. Shen Hung didn't feel that Guo Yuping's character was bad. On the contrary, he believed that the most badass strategist in history was the poisonous scholar Jia Su, not Zhuge Kongming. If Guo Yuping could truly obey him absolutely, Shen Hung would naturally put him in an important position. Of course, this also depended on whether he could make him willingly and wholeheartedly serve him. He didn't want to end up like Zhao Erbao one day, betrayed by the people beside him. Before truly trusting his subordinates completely, he wouldn't easily reveal any secrets. Guo Yuping responded very quickly. In less than 5 minutes, rubbing his hands and wearing thick clothes, he ran over quickly. Seeing the pickup truck from afar, Guo Yuping was stunned and couldn't help but rub his eyes. There's actually a pickup truck in the underground passage? He couldn't help but become even more curious about Shen Hong. At the same time, he made up his mind that he absolutely could not betray Shen Hong. One must know, the entire underground passage was just a connecting route between the high-rise apartment area in front and the adjacent villa area. Each house only had one access point, completely unconnected to the ground above. How was this car brought down into the underground passage? The boss's methods are truly brilliant. He respectfully walked up to Shen Hong and said reverently, "Hello, Brother Shen." Shen Hing nodded. He was still very satisfied with Guo Yuping's speed. "These are the supplies to be sold today. Take a look." Shen Hong pointed to the ground. Only then did Guo Yuping look closely at the mountain of goods, his eyes shining brightly. With so many goods, how much money could this sell for? Among these goods, besides some daily food and drinks, he even saw various meats, seafood, thick quilts, padded jackets, and even thermos flasks. "You're in charge of selling these goods. Instant noodles were 2,500 yesterday, right? Today, the price doubles," Shen Hung said indifferently. "One pack of instant noodles is 5,000 yuan. The prices of other items will be calculated accordingly." F5,000. Guo Yuping was dumbfounded. To be honest, this was too expensive. "Is there a problem?" Shen Hung asked. No problem." Guo Yuping shook his head repeatedly, while inwardly agreeing completely. "Brother Shen, I was originally going to suggest selling them for 3,000, but you directly raised it to 5,000. I didn't expect you to be even more ruthless than me. However, following a boss like this seems to offer a brighter future, doesn't it? Regardless of when this snow stops, the boss will make a fortune. Then, as the boss's most loyal sales subordinate, the boss won't mistreat me in the future. The items on the back seat of the car are specially for you. Those don't need to be sold. Just take them home, Shenheng added. Specially for me. Gui Yuping was stunned. He instinctively looked toward the back seat of the car. The back seat was piled high with items, several thick quilts, warm clothes, and under the seat, there was drinking water, a large slab of pork, beef, mutton, and even thoughtfully included thermos flasks, bowls, basins, and the like. In the gaps between the items, various medicines were stuffed. Especially when he saw the pediatric acetaminophen among the medicines, Gui Yuping couldn't hold back anymore. Thank you, Brother Shen. His nose stung, and he fell to his knees in front of Shenheng. Brother Shen, you can rest assured leaving this to me. I will definitely do a good job. In the middle of the night yesterday, he found his 1-year-old child at home had a runny nose, and his heart burned with anxiety. Although he knew Brother Shen had medicine, because it was the middle of the night, he absolutely didn't dare to disturb Shenheng's rest. He was still thinking about whether he could ask Brother Shen to buy some today. After all, he still had a little bit of savings. Unexpectedly, Brother Shen was so thoughtful and even brought this for him. It was very obvious. Brother Shen had seen the message he posted in the homeowners group. In the future, if you need anything, just message me. Don't beg others for trades in the group. After all, you are my man. As your boss, if you still have to go buy medicine from others, wouldn't that make me lose face? Shenheng smiled and helped him up. I live in the adjacent villa area, West Row, Villa number 3. Later, just park this car in your basement. Tomorrow, drive it up here yourself to load the goods. I won't be running back and forth anymore. Yes, Brother Shen, Yuping nodded repeatedly. Shenheng patted his shoulder, then sent a voice message to Zhao Weilong, telling him to bring his subordinates down to maintain order. After all, there were a lot of goods today to prevent people from scrambling to buy them. However, how could he reveal his true location? Villa number 3 was where Yang Jinxian used to live. How about tomorrow morning? I put the supplies in Yang Jinshuan's basement, and then call Gui Yuping to transport them. Oh right. If you can't handle it all, pick 2 reliable people to help you sell, then give them some food. I think there will definitely be a lot of people willing to do it, Shenheng reminded him. Yes, Brother Shen, Gui Yuping quickly replied. Very quickly, Gui Yuping immediately posted an announcement in the major homeowner groups. The supplies have arrived today. Due to the current shortage, the prices of all supplies have doubled. Smoked pork hocks, instant noodles, and bread are 5,000 a pack. Heaters and down comforters are 50,000. The entire homeowner group erupted. Many people frantically messaged Gui Yuping, criticizing him for raising the prices. 5,000 for a pack of instant noodles? Why don't you just rob us? If you don't want to buy, please shut up. If you keep whining, I'll write down your name, and I won't sell to you no matter how high a price you offer, Gui Yuping replied coldly. This was the authority his boss had given him. If he encountered disobedient people, he would just block the transaction. No time to waste with them. Also, starting today, all secret transactions are terminated. Whether it's buying medicine or supplies, my side will provide it. As long as you have money, it's fine, Gui Yuping added in the group. Anyone I find out will be put on a blacklist. Of course, my side also accepts bartering for supplies. Just like that, he took control of all the supplies in the residential complex. Although he didn't know what the boss wanted to do, the intelligent Gui Yuping had already begun to guess Shenheng's intentions and issue corresponding orders. In the future, there can only be one person in control of the supplies in this complex, and that is my boss. Right, Brother Shen. After posting a few messages, Gui Yuping looked carefully at Shenheng. I took the liberty of doing this. You won't blame me, will you? Shenheng smiled. Go ahead and do as you see fit. Make your own decisions. I've handed it over to you. As long as you can sell it for money for me, I won't interfere much. This kid, why does he talk so smoothly? Don't tell me he swings both ways. Looking at Gui Yuping's handsome and refined face, Shenheng instinctively took 2 steps back and continued to send voice messages to Zhao Weilong. Recruit more people for me today. Also, tell them that if they have plants, they should look for Gui Yuping to trade. Yes, Brother Shen, Zhao Weilong repeatedly agreed. Gui Yuping looked at the powerful and charismatic Shenheng with a face full of admiration, thinking to himself, the boss is so handsome. Brother Shen, Zhao Weilong led more than 10 of his underlings and strode aggressively towards Shenheng. He was tall and imposing. After Shin Hung took out one of his eyes, he started wearing an eye patch, which made him look even more ferocious. He really looked the part of a big boss. Looking at his condition, Shin Hung nodded with satisfaction. Same as yesterday. Help me keep order carefully. If you see anyone daring to steal, break their hands directly. After it's over, find Yubing to get your supplies. Oh, right. Weilong, continue to acquire green plants. Yes, Brother Shun. Zhao Weilong nodded respectfully. I collected over 100 pots yesterday. They're all placed in my house. It's just that some people heard we wanted to use supplies to trade for green plants and started playing games, demanding exorbitant prices. They're asking for 5 packs of instant noodles for 1. Shin Hung frowned slightly, then waved his hand. Then trade for it. 5 packs of instant noodles, if bought from the vending machine, would only cost about a dozen yuan. For Shin Hung, it was not a problem at all. Of course, he could also just lead people to rob them directly, but Shin Hung considered himself a civilized person and disdained doing such things. More importantly, in the future, he wanted to rule Jiangqing. Naturally, he didn't want his subordinates to be outwardly compliant but inwardly rebellious. If I go and rob their things now, how can I expect them to follow me with peace of mind in the future? What Shin Hung wanted was just the money in their hands. If they contributed their money and followed him with absolute loyalty, Shin Hung would naturally put them in important positions. Otherwise, no matter how invincible he was alone, he couldn't possibly protect the people he wanted to protect forever. Shin Hung casually tossed 2 packs of cigarettes to Zhao Weilong. The group of underlings' eyes instantly lit up. They didn't have the habit of stockpiling cigarettes. When the blizzard first hit, they had already smoked everything. For 5 days, they hadn't had a single cigarette. Now, seeing Shin Hung casually toss out 2 packs, everyone looked at Zhao Weilong with eager anticipation. From now on, all of you work hard for me. The boss will never let you lack good things. Zhao Weilong distributed the cigarettes to his brothers, warning, if anyone has other ideas, don't blame me for being impolite to you. Don't worry, Brother Long. We'll definitely listen to you. Even if you didn't say it, Brother Long, we understand the rules. In a flash, a pack of cigarettes was more than half gone, with only 3 left. Zhao Weilong stuffed the whole pack into his pocket, walked over to Gui Yubing, and handed him one as well. Thanks, brother. Gui Yubing smiled at Zhao Weilong and took the cigarette to smoke. The homeowners who had just been notified about the sale of supplies hadn't come down yet, so he was happy to have some free time. The supplies Brother Shin brought out were all sorted and stacked neatly. There was nothing to worry about. Is this the truck Brother Shin gave you? Zhao Weilong looked at the pickup truck with an envious expression. Yes, Gui Yubing nodded. Seeing that the other underlings had dispersed to guard the 4 corners, he took advantage of their inattention to stuff a few smoked pork hocks and a can of luncheon meat into Zhao Weilong's hands. Brother you. Zhao Weilong's eyes widened. We're all brothers here, Gui Yubing said with a smile. Don't worry, I took these from the car seat. Brother Shin gave them to me personally. I can't finish them, so I'm sharing some with Brother Long. He knew very well that he was now Shun Heng's steward, and Zhao Weilong was very likely to be Shun Heng's bodyguard. We're all Brother Shin's men. Let's get rich together. Thanks, Zhao Weilong grinned, then said with a hint of sourness. Brother Shun is really good to you, giving you so much. Brother Shin gave you cigarettes too, Gui Yubing said with a smile. You're a one-man show. When you're full, your whole family's not hungry. Unlike me. At my place, besides my parents, wife, and child, my father-in-law and mother-in-law are also here. They're retired and help look after the kids. They were supposed to go home every night, but they got stuck at my place that day because of the torrential rain. Right now, I have a total of 7 mouths to feed at home. Brother Shin knows, so he gave me a little more. That's right. Zhao Weilong's gaze shifted to Shin Hung, and he nodded as he looked. Brother Shun is indeed formidable. We got to know each other through a fight before, haha. To be precise, it wasn't really getting to know each other through a fight. It was just me being subdued by Brother Shin alone. Back then, I only submitted to his martial prowess. I never thought Brother Shun would have so many supplies, and even dare to sell them. You have to know. Right now, every household is hiding their food and drinks, unwilling to take them out at all. Yet Shin Hung pulled out a whole truckload and wants to sell it. Is he really not afraid of running out of food? The heavy snow has blocked the roads, and the government officials are nowhere to be found. If he really runs out, where else can he find food? By then, Everyone will starve to death. I don't know how Brother Shin got so much stuff. He even wants to continue selling tomorrow, Gui Yubing said with emotion. And from the looks of it, the price might even go up tomorrow. Zhao Weilong was speechless. A pack of instant noodles is already 5,000 yuan. If the price goes up again, who can afford to eat? However, this had nothing to do with him. As long as he followed Brother Shin would take care of him. Before long, people started coming downstairs, lining up to buy supplies. More and more people gathered around the pickup truck from all sides. Zhao Weilong put out his cigarette and stood up to maintain order. If anyone tried to steal during the chaos, he and his underlings would give them a beating. There was order amidst the chaos. Overall, it was not bad. Shin Hung stood not far away, nodding in satisfaction. Then he squatted down again, looking at the small potted plant on the staircase of the 16th floor. Overnight, the small plant seemed to have grown quite a bit. This thing seems to have mutated. Normally, it shouldn't grow so fast. But thinking back to his previous life, after the ability fruits appeared, some animals mutated, making the living environment for humans even more difficult. Shin Hung had also figured it out. Even humans have abilities, let alone plants and animals. He was just about to stand up and leave when he suddenly heard a commotion coming from the direction of the pickup truck. Shin Hung frowned. He slowly walked towards the pickup truck. After just 2 steps, he saw the commotion getting louder. The crowd was dense, and the noise was deafening. Many people who had food at home had almost finished it by the 5th day. Even if they had food, they had to come down to buy water because they had none. Therefore, today, the underground passage was unusually crowded. The entire tunnel was almost completely packed, with no gaps left. There were nearly 1,000 people. He saw many people holding cleavers. Zhao Weilong's underlings were tightly surrounded, shouting and yelling. And one of the underlings next to Zhao Weilong had his neck slashed and was lying on the ground, motionless. It seemed he wouldn't make it. Chu Jingping. You motherfucker, you dare to make a move. Zhao Weilong's face was grim. A fat man weighing 300 jin, holding 2 cleavers, looked at him with a cold smile. Zhao Weilong, who the hell are you? A one-eyed piece of trash. I'm warning you now, get the hell out of my way. Otherwise, I'll chop you to death first. Chu Jingping was a contractor. At this moment, he had brought more than 30 people and had Zhao Weilong and his dozen or so underlings completely surrounded. Their faces were ferocious. Each of them held a cleaver, clearly having come prepared. If they could seize this truck of supplies, they would have food. Not just food and drink, but also all kinds of winter warming supplies. There were even fire starters. Gui Yubing, right? The used car salesman. I recognize you. Chu Jingping pointed his cleaver at Gui Yubing. Now get lost, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The homeowners who originally wanted to buy supplies were all in an uproar, hurriedly retreating to the back, nervously watching Chu Jingping. Cut the crap. These are Brother Shin's supplies. I'm his underling. If you know what's good for you, don't cause trouble, Zhao Weilong said with a cold face. Although Gui Yubing's face was tense, he still spoke to the people around him. If the supplies are robbed by him, then no one will be able to buy anything. You'll have to go hungry today. There are only about 30 of them. Let's drive them away. Nonsense. Chu Jingping suddenly swung his cleaver at Gui Yubing. Gui Yubing hurriedly dodged, but was still slashed in the back. Thanks to his thick clothing, his clothes were torn, and cotton fibers flew everywhere. This stuff belongs to me. Who objects? Chu Jingping's sinister gaze swept over the numerous homeowners. The homeowners' faces were ugly, and they retreated again. Although many people had died of hunger and cold by now, no one had ever seen someone being killed in broad daylight. For a moment, looking at Chu Jingping's blood-stained cleaver, they couldn't help but feel extremely tense. The dead underling on the ground was killed by Chu Jingping's first move. He was ruthless. Seeing that none of the homeowners responded, Gui Yubing frowned. To be honest, if everyone could charge forward together, let alone Chu Jingping having a cleaver, with hundreds or thousands of people, each person giving a kick would be enough to trample them to death. It's just a pity. When faced with danger, more people choose to be cowards. Even though it concerned their own supplies, no one was willing to step forward. Zhao Weilong, I advise you not to be someone's dog. Brother Shin this, Brother Shin that. In front of me, he's nothing but a fart, Chu Jingping sneered. Why don't you follow me? I can still give you a bite to eat. Don't be fooled by his calm exterior. He was actually a little scared inside. He had really just killed someone. However, since the government is nowhere to be found, and so many people have died outside, killing one person is no big deal, right? When the blizzard passes, the government can't possibly want to settle scores with me, right? I'm about to starve to death. Even if I have to face a bullet later, I have to risk it this time. His eyes greedily looked at the supplies behind Guiyubing. With so many supplies, if he could seize them all today, he could at least eat for half a month. It would be enough for him to survive. You cut the crap. Zhao Weilong gritted his teeth. I advise you not to court death. If Brother Shin finds out. Finds out what? Chu Zhengping cursed angrily and directly swung his cleaver at Zhao Weilong. Zhao Weilong hurriedly dodged. The brothers following Chu Zhengping, seeing their big brother make a move again, also rushed forward with their cleavers. Zhao Weilong's underlings fled for their lives. In the chaos, those underlings with cleavers, seeing no one resisting, stopped chasing them. Instead, they desperately stuffed the supplies on the ground into their clothes. Stop! Guiyubing's eyes were about to pop out. This was the stuff Brother Shun had entrusted to him. If it was lost just like that, how could he explain it to Brother Shin? More importantly, the homeowners who were originally standing at the back also started to get restless. Seeing everyone scrambling to loot, especially when Chu Jingping was no longer paying attention to Guiyubing, but was frantically picking up sacks from the ground and stuffing things inside, everyone also became chaotic. They all rushed to loot. If they could get it for free, why use money? With so many people in chaos, it wouldn't be too much for me to sneak away with 2 packs of instant noodles, right? With someone taking the lead, the remaining homeowners were not willing to be left behind. Especially seeing the supplies on the ground being snatched up by everyone. People also started to climb onto the bed of the pickup truck, frantically grabbing supplies. This caused everyone to rush forward together. Stop, you all. Guiyubing's face was filled with despair. Bang! At this moment, a loud noise rang out. Chu Jingping had a cold smile on his face, frantically stuffing all kinds of things into a sack. But in the next second, his body trembled. His 300-gene body crashed to the ground. The people who were fighting for supplies all avoided Chu Jingping, afraid of being hit by his cleaver, so there was no one next to him. But when he fell to the ground, everyone's movements suddenly froze. That was a gun. A gunshot. Everyone seemed to be frozen in place, just staring blankly at Chu Jingping lying on the ground. Who? Chu Jingping clutched his chest, his face full of pain. Fresh blood flowed from the wound. After only a few seconds, people realized the gunshots had stopped. They hurriedly bent down again to fight for the goods. The people behind them frantically pushed forward. The people in front were still grabbing supplies. In an instant, curses rang out endlessly. The scene once again descended into chaos. So my gun is useless, huh? Shin Heng's face darkened. Standing behind the crowd, he tossed the pistol into his space, and then an AK-47 appeared in his hand. The people in front were frantically pushing and shoving, and no one paid any attention to Shun Heng in the distance. Shin Heng had seen Chu Zhengping leading people to rob the supplies earlier, but he didn't care. With a gun, what was there to fear? But he didn't expect that even these more than 1,000 homeowners would join in the looting. What he didn't expect even more was that after Chu Jingping was shot and fell to the ground, this group of people only paused for a few seconds before continuing to fight over the goods. Before, everyone didn't dare to get close to Chu Jingping. But when they saw him lying on the ground, barely breathing, completely without his previous threat, people started to rush towards him. Even the sack in his hand was torn apart and snatched by everyone. Those who couldn't get supplies started to fight with others who were grabbing them. Shin Heng sneered coldly, holding the AK, and loaded it. Click-clack, the soft sound of the gun being loaded rang out. Guiyubing, Zhao Weilong. You two get into the truck for me right now. Shin Heng held a megaphone in his left hand and shouted. Guiyubing, who was fighting with others for supplies, heard this and without a second thought, immediately hid inside the truck, lying flat on the seat. Zhao Weilong followed suit. He instinctively followed Guiyubing into the truck. Just as he got in, the AK in Shun Heng's hand also went off at the same time. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. The muzzle spat out blue flames. The characteristic rapid fire of the machine gun formed a pressing rhythm, like dense raindrops falling on a tin roof. The sound seemed to pierce the eardrums, long and unending. Every bullet fired was accompanied by the sound of tearing air and a loud explosion, sharp and ear-piercing. The numerous people fighting for supplies in front of Shun Hung fell to the ground one by one with the sound of the gun, like a lawnmower cutting down wheat. A gun. There's a gun. People are dying. Only after seeing many people fall did everyone seem to wake up from a dream. They threw away the supplies in their hands and turned to run in their own directions. Anyone who runs again, I'll kill. Shun Hung turned around, coldly changed the magazine, and fired another burst at the fleeing homeowners. The homeowners running in the middle were shot in the back. Their entire bodies were thrown into the air before falling to the ground. The fleeing people suddenly stopped, standing frozen in place with wide eyes, their hands raised high. Don't kill me. I surrender. I surrender. On the ground, some were dead, while those who weren't were clutching their arms or thighs, constantly groaning in pain. Shut up for me. Shun Hing picked up the megaphone from the ground, his cold gaze sweeping across the area. Everyone was terrified and said nothing. Brother Shun. Gui Yubing and Zhao Weilong got out of the truck, looking at Shun Hung with a mixture of joy and fear. They never expected Brother Shun to have an AK-47. There were dozens of people lying on the ground, which made both of them secretly terrified. This was real killing. And he had killed dozens of people. Shun Heng's face was calm as he walked slowly closer. Thud, thud. Only the sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor. A homeowner standing closest to Shun Hung was so scared his face turned pale. He knelt directly on the ground. Don't kill me. Bang. What awaited him was a bullet from Shun Heng's gun. With a blank expression, the man immediately fell to the ground, motionless. Everyone collectively gulped, not saying a word, trembling. Gui Yubing's legs also felt like jelly as he nervously watched Shun Hung. Shun Hung walked up to Chu Jingping. This fat man was actually not dead yet. With a pale face, he looked at Shun Hung. You led people to rob my things. You're really bold, aren't you? Shun Hung sneered, pointing the gun at Chu Jingping's limbs. Bang, 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 for consecutive shots. What answered him were 4 miserable screams from Chu Jingping. I hope this is the last time. Shun Hung looked at the numerous homeowners and said coldly, I was just trying to do business with you. You pay. I give you supplies. We have a fair trade. Although the price of the supplies is not low, you can completely choose not to buy. So why did you want to rob my things? Everyone knelt on the ground, their bodies trembling. Click-clack. Shun Hung changed another magazine, the muzzle pointing straight at Chu Jingping's head. This is an example for provocation. Anyone who isn't afraid of death, just come and try. Ugh. Chu Jingping struggled to open his mouth, seemingly wanting to say something, but couldn't get any words out. His eyes were filled with fear. Who is this person? He even has a gun. Unfortunately, this question could not be asked. Shun Heng pointed the gun at his head and pulled the trigger. The continuous sound of gunshots echoed, directly hitting everyone's ears. Everyone had a pained expression. They hurriedly covered their ears tightly. Only after the gunshots stopped did they dare to look at Chu Jingping, whose large, fat head had been blasted into minced meat. Ugh! Several people standing nearby, seeing this bloody scene, started to vomit uncontrollably. But as soon as they thought of Shun Hong, they desperately covered their mouths, looking at him nervously. Zhao Weilong, count how many of your underlings are still alive, Shun Heng's voice came. Zhao Weilong swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He hurriedly turned around to count the people beside him. He replied in a low voice, Brother Shun, there are still 10-12. Shun Hung hadn't intentionally aimed at anyone just now. A stray bullet had hit one of his underlings, killing him on the spot. Of course, more of the dead were the people Chu Zhangping brought with cleavers, and also the homeowners who were fighting over the goods. Everyone, listen carefully. Shun Heng's voice rang out, sounding like a demon from hell. All the things you just looted, you must all line up and return them to me. Zhao Weilong, take your underlings and search them carefully to ensure that no one is privately hiding anything. Yes, Brother Shun. Zhao Weilong hurriedly called his underlings over and walked towards the pickup truck. Everyone looked nervously at Shun Hung for a moment. Seeing that he didn't say anything more, they hurriedly stood up and obediently returned the supplies. After putting down the supplies, Zhao Weilong's underlings would search their entire bodies, forcing them to take off their coats and throw them to the side. Everyone was shivering from the cold, but they didn't dare to say a word. This was a great opportunity for these underlings. Many female homeowners had also participated in the looting just now. Now, with their coats taken off, their thick sweaters were exposed. A group of underlings, under the pretext of careful inspection, moved their hands all over them. These female homeowners could only grit their teeth and endure it, not daring to make a sound. Some female homeowners were with their husbands, but in the face of these groping hands, their husbands didn't dare to speak up. They could only helplessly lower their heads. Shen Heng remained unmoved. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Time passed by quietly, second by second. After the numerous homeowners handed over the supplies, they all huddled in their thick coats, one by one obediently standing to the side. They still wanted to continue buying more supplies. After all, there was nothing left to eat at home now. Many people, seeing that Shen Heng was no longer killing people, felt relieved and approached him, trying to plead their case. Line up properly. One of Zhao Weilong's underlings shouted at the crowd, "Stand still. What are you doing out here? If you still want to buy supplies, line up immediately." Then, this underling took the initiative to smile at Shen Heng. "Brother Shen, I saw them crowding around you, and was afraid they'd upset you. It's fine." Shen Heng waved his hand. "What's your name?" "Brother Shen, my name is Ren Jie." The underling hurriedly and respectfully replied. From now on, follow Zhao Weilong and be his assistant." Shen Heng nodded. He tossed Ren Jie a bottle of ointment. "Take this and rub it on. Don't let yourself get frostbite." This underling had just shown great bravery, and Shen Heng had taken note of it. Earlier, when Xu Jinping led a group of people over to hack and kill, Ren Jie had even pushed down two of them, holding a knife to face them head-on. In contrast, Zhao Weilong only knew how to dodge from side to side, completely lacking the power to resist. Ren Jie's hand had also been slightly injured during the confrontation just now. "Thank you, Brother Shen." Ren Jie hurriedly accepted it with a joyful face. "Oh right. What did you do for a living before?" Shen Heng asked casually. "Well, I used to be a soldier. Because my fiancé cheated on me, I asked for leave to go back and teach that bastard a lesson." Ren Jie's face stiffened slightly. "But I didn't expect that my girlfriend and that bastard would go straight to the army base to report me. I had no choice but to be discharged. It's only been a little over a month. I was just about to go out and look for a security job when I ran into the torrential rain. No, I mean this terrifying blizzard." So he was a soldier. No wonder Shen Heng saw Ren Jie act so decisively and fiercely earlier. Moreover, when facing people like Xu Jinping, he wasn't afraid in the slightest. "Not bad." Shen Heng patted Ren Jie's shoulder and asked, "Do you know how to use this gun?" "Of course." Ren Jie looked proud, then realized his attitude might be inappropriate and hurriedly cleared his throat. "Brother Shen, I know how to use it. Zhao Weilong, I'm leaving this gun to you." Shen Heng directly tossed the gun to Zhao Weilong and instructed, "Have Ren Jie guide you more. You need to master it quickly." "What just happened?" "I've already told you, I don't want to see a situation like that happen again." "Yes, sir." Zhao Weilong caught the gun in surprise, his face full of joy as he hurriedly assured Shen Heng. The remaining homeowners were terrified out of their wits and didn't dare to open their mouths. Let go of me." At this moment, a woman's cry rang out. Shen Heng frowned and looked in the direction of the sound. The homeowners were lining up in an orderly manner to return the supplies. It was a young woman's turn. This girl looked to be in her early 20s, with short hair, exuding a youthful and fresh beauty. Although she couldn't compare to the girls at his house, her looks could still be ranked as a class beauty. Several underlings surrounded her with annoyed expressions. "Fu Xiaozhu." Shen Heng was slightly surprised. This was the woman that Grandpa Qin had taken in his previous life. After swallowing the ability fruit, she was a college student. Her mother was a businesswoman who hadn't returned on that night of torrential rain, leaving her all alone. In his previous life, Grandpa Qin was upright and just, and he might have even possessed extraordinary natural talents. Fu Xiaozhu had relied on him, and eventually became his willing partner, living a happy married life with him. "What's going on?" Shen Heng asked. "Brother Shen, she seems to be hiding bread on her and refuses to hand it over," an underling explained. "This is bread I bought earlier," Fu Xiaozhu said loudly. Even at home, I didn't dare leave it out for fear of people breaking in, so I hid it on my body. Is that not allowed? Besides, I didn't even participate in the scramble just now. I was standing all the way in the back. You guys clearly just want to take the opportunity to grope me. Who'd want to grope you? The underlings looked embarrassed, and the leader glared and scolded her. Enough. Shun Hung waved his hand. Leave her alone. Yuping, get her some canned smoked pork trotters and a self-heating hot pot. Yes, sir. Although Gui Yuping didn't understand Shin Heng's intentions, he still honestly obeyed, grabbing the items and handing them to Fu Xiaozhu. Hold on to these carefully, then go home. Shun Hung waved his hand at her. Fu Xiaozhu was a bit stunned. She looked at the man in front of her wearing a leather hat and a mask, completely unable to see what his face looked like. Why would he take the initiative to give her food? You have to know, Shun Hung had just been decisive and ruthless, directly killing dozens of people. Even the leader, Chu Jingping, had his head smashed to pieces. He could be said to be a cruel and merciless person. To think that not only did he not argue with her about these things, but he even wanted to give her food. She hugged the heavy pile of supplies in her arms, looking at Shun Hung curiously. In his previous life, it was this exact same look. A warm current welled up in Shun Heng's heart. After he was saved by Grandpa Qin, he opened his eyes to see Fu Xiaozhu looking at him curiously. For the next few days, Grandpa Qin gave him food and drink. He even ate up quite a bit of the supplies meant for the two of them. But Grandpa Qin and Fu Xiaozhu never said a word. Instead, they let him rest and recover in peace. On the contrary, Feng Lu, during the 3 days he was missing, that woman did send him a few messages, but she didn't care if he was injured or not. She only demanded to know when he was coming back. She and Su Chao were still hungry. Since I gave it to you, just take it, Shun Hung smiled gently. All right. Fu Xiaozhu had a straightforward and strong personality, not the pretentious type. She nodded directly, accepted the supplies, and said softly, thank you. No need to be polite. We'll meet again in the future. Shun Hung waved his hand. It's cold outside. Hurry up and go home. Thinking back to his previous life, Grandpa Qin and Fu Xiaozhu were like dry wood meeting a raging fire. The two quickly fell in love. Fu Xiaozhu was naturally very beautiful, but did Grandpa Qin really just rely on his extraordinary natural talents? Or maybe it was because Fu Xiaozhu lost her father at a young age and lacked a father's love. Shun Hung smiled faintly, teasing in his mind. He wondered if, in this life, when he brought Grandpa Qin and Fu Xiaozhu together, the two of them would still spark the flames of love. Keep going. Shun Hung waved his hand, signaling them to continue the inspection. Gui Yuping glanced at Zhao Weilong beside him in confusion. Zhao Weilong gave Gui Yuping a knowing look that men usually understood. Brother Shin definitely fancied this woman. Although she was a bit lacking compared to a little grain of sand, her style was different. He didn't touch the little grain of sand, but instead gave supplies to this female student. He really was casting a wide net. Gui Yuping also reacted, replying with an understanding look. Not to mention the two of them. Even the homeowners could tell that this man who had killed dozens of people was definitely a lecher. And he even liked that pure kind of love, too. Continue searching, Shun Hung instructed, then told Gui Yuping. Today, someone provoked us. The homeowners not only didn't follow your arrangements, but they also joined forces to deal with those people, and even participated in the scramble for supplies. Based on this reason, all the supplies prepared for sale earlier, from now on, the price will be doubled again. Understand? Yes, sir. Gui Yuping hurriedly nodded repeatedly. The price was going to double again? His heart skipped a beat. Did that mean a pack of instant noodles would cost 10,000 yuan? The other homeowners also widened their eyes, wanting to speak up, but after seeing Shun Hung, they all obediently lowered their heads. Shun Hung prepared to leave. Seeing Fu Xiaozhu, he also remembered that he should go meet Grandpa Qin. In his previous life, Grandpa Qin lived peacefully until 15 days later, swallowed the ability fruit produced by the green tree at his security booth, and awakened his ability. In this life, with his own warning, Grandpa Qin would definitely survive even more safely now. Shun Hung hadn't gone looking for him earlier because Grandpa Qin's gatehouse was a single-story house in the residential area. On the first day of the apocalypse, a night of flying snow had completely buried Grandpa Qin's gatehouse under the snow. It It was about time to let those stupid snow-clearing robots get to work. Just as he was about to leave, he caught sight of Feng Lu in the line. This woman came to buy supplies again. But thinking about it, it made sense. She didn't buy much yesterday. Moreover, with Feng Lu and Su Chao's eating habits, buying that amount of supplies, they probably went home and immediately stuffed themselves full. They wouldn't know how to save it all. You can only live for 9 more days. Shun Hung looked at Feng Lu, silently calculating her remaining survival time in his heart. 10 days later, the ability fruit would appear. However, just in case, Shun Hung naturally couldn't let her and Su Chao live until then. What if, right when the ability fruit was produced, Feng Lu or Su Chao coincidentally swallowed it? When that time came, his own ability would naturally be powerful, but Shun Hung didn't want to create more enemies for himself for no reason. Since they wouldn't live for many more days, he could start having a little fun with the two of them. Otherwise, after 9 days, life would lack a lot of joy. Meanwhile, seeing Shun Hung stare at her, a thought suddenly popped into Feng Lu's mind. Just now, Shun Hung had taken the initiative to give Fu Xiaozhu supplies. She guessed that he must have seen how pretty Fu Xiaozhu was, which was why he not only didn't pursue the matter of the bread hidden on her, but also generously gave her quite a bit of food. Men, weren't they all creatures controlled by their lower halves? She smiled at Shun Hung, then spoke softly. Brother Shun, wait a moment. Huh? Shun Hung turned his head, looking at Feng Lu with a puzzled expression. He was fully geared up. Naturally, Feng Lu couldn't tell that this powerful brother Shun in front of her was actually Shun Hung, the boyfriend who used to be her devoted lapdog. I didn't hide any supplies. I handed everything over, Feng Lu said as she approached Shun Hung. She deliberately puffed out her chest, showing off her figure. If you don't believe me, Brother Shin, you can check for yourself. As long as Brother Shin bestows a little bit of supplies, it'll be enough for me to eat and drink my fill. Why would I need to use money to buy them? Shun Hung was amused by Feng Lu's stupid actions, daring to use her looks to seduce him. He also smiled and took the initiative to reach out his hand. Feng Lu's face flushed red to the tips of her ears. Although there were quite a few people standing around, since things had come to this, what was there to be shy about? Many other bold women had already climbed into the beds of men with supplies. She wouldn't lose anything. Even if Su Chao saw it, he would have to sympathize with her, right? She looked joyfully at Shun Hung reaching out his hand. But in the next second, Shun Hung's hand suddenly exerted force, and a resounding slap landed squarely on her face. Smack! Feng Lu let out a miserable shriek and fell to the ground. The powerful slap even sent her rolling. If you don't have a mirror at home, you at least have a basin of water to look at your reflection, right? You didn't even bother to see what kind of trash you are. A plaything like you dares to ask me to touch you. It'll only dirty my hands. Shun Hung snorted and sneered. He raised his head and said to Guai Yuping, remember this woman. If she wants to buy supplies, the price will be doubled again. Feng Lu sat on the ground covering her face, looking at Shun Heng's back with eyes full of resentment. Around them, quite a few homeowners were pointing fingers at her. I took the initiative to offer myself to you, and you didn't even want it. Are my looks uglier than hers? You really don't know what's good for you. Her face turned pale, then red. She stood up, put on her coat, and quietly returned to the line. Feng Lu still didn't know that the person she had actively tried to seduce was none other than Shun Hung. And in Shun Heng's heart, she had already been completely sentenced to death. In 9 days, it would be her time of death. Zhao Weilong squinted his eyes and stared at Feng Lu. I didn't expect this woman to be so open. And she's not bad looking. If Brother Shin doesn't like her, I do. He looked around at his underlings and smiled lightly. He raised his head and said to Feng Lu, you come here. Feng Lu was startled and hurriedly walked over to Zhao Weilong, smiling at him. Hello, Brother Long. Now the gun is with Zhao Weilong. It seems he is highly valued by that Brother Shin. I'm searching you myself. Do you have a problem with that? Zhao Weilong frowned. Of course not. Feng Lu quickly understood. She stared at Zhao Weilong with her charming, fox-like eyes. The big brother can resist. But can the second-in-command resist? Feng Lu's soul-stealing eyes made Zhao Weilong's face bloom into a brilliant smile. He pulled Feng Lu and walked towards the basement of a nearby building. As he walked, he turned his head and asked Guai Yubing, Yubing, remember to set aside 2 packs of instant noodles for your brother later. Guai Yubing frowned. Although Brother Shun had given the gun to Zhao Weilong, which clearly showed his great trust in him, Gui Yubing didn't dare to make decisions on his own. Weilong, stop. Huh. Zhao Weilong stopped and turned to look at Gui Yubing with a puzzled expression. This woman, Brother Shin personally gave the order just now. If she wants to buy supplies, the price must be doubled. That is to say, if she wants to buy a pack of noodles, it will cost 20,000 yuan. Gui Yubing pointed at Feng Lu. You're asking me to set aside noodles. Is it for her? Zhao Weilong frowned. We're all Brother Shin's men. There's no need to be so clear-cut, is there? He even patted the AK on his shoulder, clearly telling Gui Yubing that he was Shun Heng's confidant. Weilong, I don't care about others, but she is not allowed. Gui Yubing shook his head. If you want to give her the supplies that Brother Shun left for you, I have nothing to say. But I can't just give her the things that Brother Shun has arranged to be sold for free. Are you kidding me? Zhao Weilong, with his head full of lust, said, I'm not an idiot. This woman clearly annoyed Brother Shun, and you still want to get involved with her? Even if you replaced her with other women, I wouldn't say another word. Gui Yubing, what do you mean? Zhao Weilong seemed furious. Literally. Don't you understand? Gui Yubing's face also darkened. I follow Brother Shun, not you, Zhao Weilong. You work directly with Brother Shun, don't I? You have a gun now. I admit I don't dare to mess with you. However, the supplies that Brother Shun left, I will account for them clearly. The supplies for the brothers to use, I will also list them one by one. But the part for sale, I will absolutely not give it away casually, Gui Yubing said coldly. If you still want to continue, I won't stop you. But I will report everything clearly to Brother Shun. You, Zhao Weilong glared. Do you have to be like this? It's just 2 packs of instant noodles. Of course, these 2 packs of instant noodles, the selling price to her is 40,000, Gui Yubing said indifferently. I can't bear this responsibility. Zhao Weilong's face was cold. Brother Long, I think Brother Bing is right. Rin Jie gently pulled Zhao Weilong and said in a low voice, Are you not even listening to me? Zhao Weilong glared angrily at Rin Jie. Brother Shin told you to teach me how to use a gun, but you're just my assistant. You dare to speak up? Rin Jie frowned and said nothing. Brother Long. Feng Lu pouted, her face pitiful, and said in a low voice, Don't you guys argue. Don't let your own brothers argue because of me. You like me, right? She moved closer to Zhao Weilong's ear. Little sister won't affect Brother Long in front of everyone. Little sister just purely wants her Brother Long to be comfortable for a bit. Let's add each other on WeChat. If Brother Long misses little sister will come to Brother Long, okay? What a good and understanding little sister. Zhao Weilong nodded vigorously, took out his mobile phone, and added Feng Lu on WeChat. After Feng Lu left, Zhao Weilong turned around and said with a snort, Are you satisfied now, great manager? Gui Yubing let out a sigh of relief, shook his head, and said, Weilong, I'm not trying to pick a fight with you. It's just that on Brother Shin's side, it's not convenient for me to explain. I know. Zhao Weilong patted his shoulder, then took the initiative to take out the unopened pack of cigarettes from his pocket that he was reluctant to open, and handed one to Gui Yubing. As the numerous homeowners began to shop in an orderly manner, Gui Yubing also started to get busy. At that time, Zhao Weilong's eyes were deep as he glanced at Gui Yubing, then fell silent. Buzz, buzz. Shin Heng was already on the surface. He took out the robot, placed it on the ground, aimed it at the gate of Uncle Chin's house, and pressed the switch. The robot's 2 front legs plunged directly into the snow, digging quickly. A large chunk of snow flew toward Shin Heng. Shin Heng, already experienced, with a blank face, raised his hand. An umbrella opened with a pop, blocking the chunk of snow. These 2 words, stupid, really suit you. How many times has it been? As soon as I press the button, as soon as I put it on the ground, it immediately turns around and flings snow at its owner. If you're not stupid, who is? By the way, which idiot researched and developed this thing? Don't you know to put the switch on the side? You have to put it on the back. Isn't this just clearing snow towards me? Although this thing was a bit stupid, its snow clearing efficiency was really high. Before long, it had dug out a snow path leading straight to the gate of Uncle Chin's house. When it reached Uncle Chin's door, the machine still didn't stop. Its 2 claws shot out. It charged directly at the wooden door. Before Shin Heng could react, the wooden door was directly split into 2. Ahem. Before Shin Hung could even open his mouth, a powerful sound came from the room. Looking up, he saw Uncle Chin fumbling to pull up his pants, his face filled with horror as he stared at the robot. Ahem. Shin Hung was stunned. It seems Uncle Chin's talent in romance with Fu Xiaozhu is probably truly innate. It's so cold, and he's still in the mood for this? He discreetly glanced at the trash can on the ground. More than half a can of toilet paper. Uncle, you're still the same uncle. So full of energy. Little Shun, why are you here? Uncle Chin's old face turned red. He knew in his heart that his actions just now had been seen by Shin Hung. He quickly coughed and stood up. Uncle Chin, you're really getting more vigorous with age, Shin Hung teased. You little brat, what nonsense are you talking about? Uncle Chin glanced cautiously behind Shin Hung. Seeing no one else, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Why are you here? Uncle Chin, I'm here to take you away. Shin Hung put away the robot and looked at Uncle Chin with a serious expression. In my previous life, you saved me, and not just once. In this life, I will ensure you survive safely. You mean this thing is an ability fruit? If I eat it, I'll have an ability? In the guardroom, Uncle Chin looked at the grayish-brown fruit in Shun Heng's hand with a shocked expression. After listening to Shun Heng's explanation just now, Uncle Chin understood. He never thought that such a magical fruit could exist in this world. Once eaten, one could even possess an ability. It was simply unbelievable. Seeing his expression of disbelief, Shin Hung stretched out his hand and flicked his finger. A flame suddenly appeared at his fingertip, emitting a strange red light. Uncle Chin's eyes widened. He thought little Shun was talking nonsense, but he didn't expect him to actually be able to conjure fire. Uncle Chin, this is my ability. Shin Hung smiled slightly, then brought his two fingers together and pointed at the snow outside the room. Swoosh, the flame shot out. When Uncle Chin came back to his senses, he was surprised to find that a very deep hole had appeared in the snow outside. It was pierced by this flame. This is too unreasonable. Uncle Chin had a dazed expression, just staring blankly at the deep hole in the snow. Now you believe me, right? Shin Hung retracted his right hand and smiled at Uncle Chin. You mean, after eating this fruit, I can also be like you and possess such an ability? Uncle Chin swallowed a mouthful of saliva, unable to believe it. Everyone's constitution is different, so the abilities activated after using it will also be different, Shin Hung explained. Thinking back to his previous life where he had a fire ability, and now after being reborn, possessing a vending machine and a consciousness space, the ability he obtained was still fire. Even after using 2 ability fruits, he couldn't activate any new abilities. Shin Hung felt that this was due to each individual's innate constitution. In his previous life, Uncle Chin's ability was very common. Specifically, his physical strength was quite large, far exceeding that of ordinary people. I wonder if it will still be the same in this life. Little Shun, Uncle Chin raised his head. He said solemnly, if that's really the case, the ability fruit is extremely valuable. I can't accept such a precious thing for free. After possessing an ability, one was truly a Superman. Uncle Chin had also looked up information online and knew how the outside world had changed. Right now, the entire social order had completely collapsed. There were even explosive news reports online that in some remote areas, people had already started looting, killing, and raping. With an ability, one would naturally be even more above all rules. Such a precious thing, I simply can't afford to repay it. Uncle Chin, I trust your character. And I also hope you can help me, Shin Hung said with a serious expression, looking at Uncle Chin. Right now, the whole world is in chaos. The government is slow to appear, and everyone is fending for themselves. Society is in turmoil. I don't want to be a savior. I just want to be able to protect my family and friends in this apocalypse. But relying on myself alone is still far from enough. If you are willing to follow me, I will give this ability fruit to you. Hearing this, Uncle Chin hesitated a little. To be honest, after he saw Shun Heng's ability just now, he was first shocked, and then he also developed a sense of admiration and longing. Who wouldn't want to have such an ability? It was even cooler than the superheroes on TV. Uncle Chin was over 50 this year, but although he was old, his heart was not. He also longed to be a person who stood above all others. Right now, the opportunity was right in front of him. As long as he swallowed the ability fruit, he would be like Shin Hung. Of course, he also understood that he needed to show his loyalty and dedication to Shenheng. After all, he had known Shenheng for more than a day or two. This young man really didn't have any overly evil thoughts. Moreover, what Shenheng said was reasonable. He also had a daughter working in Tianhai City. Tianhai was not too far from Jiangcheng, but in this apocalyptic situation, how could he possibly go find his daughter? If he had an ability, he would have a chance to go see his daughter. If the snow continued to fall, he could only continue to hide in this gatehouse. All right. Uncle Qin was not a wishy-washy person. He nodded in agreement, then without any hesitation, knelt on one knee before Shenheng. Young brother Shun, my life, Qin Yimings, is yours from now on. I'll call you old Qin, Shenheng said with a smile, helping Uncle Qin up. He said seriously, old Qin, take the ability fruit now. After that, you will be my right-hand man. Old Qin nodded and didn't continue to be polite. He took the grayish-brown fruit and put it directly into his mouth. As soon as he closed his eyes, he felt a hot current rise in his lower abdomen, flowing throughout his limbs. After this warm current circulated through his body once, it finally settled in his lower abdomen, condensing into a golden core. Do I have an ability now? Uncle Qin raised his head and looked at Shenheng blankly. Feel it carefully, and you'll know what your ability is, Shenheng said with great interest. In his previous life, Uncle Qin's ability was strength. Would it be the same in this life? Uncle Qin nodded and immediately felt it quietly. A moment later, he stood up and looked at Shenheng. My ability doesn't seem to be very strong. I just feel that my stamina, strength, and speed have all been enhanced. As for the extent of the enhancement, he looked at the wall of the gatehouse, took a deep breath, and then threw a punch. Boom! The wall immediately let out a loud bang. Shenheng stared blankly as old Qin's right hand actually pierced through this wall. Damn, what incredible strength. Old Qin was also a little shocked by the power of his own fist. He quickly retracted his arm and stared at his hands in a daze. Awesome. Shenheng couldn't help but give a thumbs up. In his previous life, most people who swallowed an ability fruit had their physical fitness enhanced. Old Qin was the same. This type of person almost all became the core force of major factions. They were just much stronger than ordinary people, but when they encountered people with special abilities, they were no match. The status of such a person was slightly lower than that of a fire-type ability user, although they were still a level stronger than ordinary people. Shenheng had never actually seen Old Qin make a move. It was just that other ability users in the community had never fought with Old Qin either. Old Qin was originally low-key and initially wanted to maintain order in the community, but in the end, he could do nothing and had to live a quiet life with Fu Xiaozhu. It was also when Shenheng was searching for supplies and was seriously injured by someone that Old Qin happened to appear and saved his life in time. However, when Old Qin made his move, Shenheng was already seriously injured and unconscious, so he didn't see clearly at all. Thinking about it now, the fact that Old Qin could save him from Sun Lihai was enough to prove his strength. Sun Lihai was a guest of the Mo family in the West City, possessing extremely high strength and status. His ability was Earth-type, with astonishing defensive power. The flame that Shenheng released couldn't even break the Earth armor that the other party casually summoned. The strength of the two sides was not on the same level at all. Yet Old Qin was still able to save him, which was enough to prove that although Old Qin's ability was just that, he was also a talented person among the physical-type ability users. Young brother Shun. This matter. As soon as Old Qin opened his mouth, Shenheng waved his hand. Call me boss, Old Qin. From now on, I will definitely not treat you badly. Yes, boss. Old Qin hurriedly bowed and saluted. Old Qin, I saw that your punch just now had a lot of momentum. Have you practiced before? Shenheng suddenly remembered something and asked. He had seen Rinjie make a move before, but compared to Old Qin, it seemed that Old Qin's punches were even more fierce. I was in the special forces when I was young. Old Qin shook his head, a look of reminiscence in his eyes. Later, I met my wife. We had a daughter, but a new mission came, and I had to go carry it out. But unexpectedly, my wife was kidnapped by an old rival of mine. The other party shouted for me to put down my weapon and surrender. I directly chose to take down the opponent, but my wife also because of that. Sigh. He let out a long sigh. I was given a demerit by the organization. I didn't complain at all. But my father-in-law and mother-in-law hated me very much and took my daughter away. In the end, I had to go to Africa and be a mercenary for a few years. It wasn't until a few years ago that I saved up some money and wanted to go back to see my daughter, but she refused to see me. She was brainwashed by her maternal grandmother, believing that it was because I recklessly opened fire back then that she lost her mother. She told me to get out of Tianhai City and not to disturb her life. I then came to Jiangcheng. After all, it's close to Tianhai. If something really happens to her, I can also get to her in time. Shen Heng's eyes widened. He didn't expect that this honest and kind old Qin had such a badass past. No wonder that punch just now had such an astonishing momentum. It turns out he was not only in the special forces, but also a mercenary. This is a man who has lived on the edge of life and death. I've really picked up a treasure. Initially, Shen Heng only wanted to thank old Qin for saving his life in his previous life. Who would have thought that old Qin was so badass? Your daughter, is she safe now? Shen Heng asked. Safe. Old Qin nodded. She's with her maternal grandparents. They're considered to have some assets in Tianhai. Their family is in business. I secretly asked their family's nanny. They still have a lot of food reserves at home. The adults and children are all in the villa, so they're considered safe for the time being. That's good. Shen Heng also breathed a sigh of relief. He still wanted to take over the entire Jiangcheng. What if old Qin was worried about his daughter and didn't want to fight for power with him? Old Qin seemed to see through Shen Heng's worries and said with a smile, Boss, since I'm willing to tell you about my past, it means I sincerely want to follow you. Don't worry. Besides, my daughter is still safe, so I have even less reason not to listen to your command. Shen Heng didn't dawdle anymore and nodded directly. Old Qin, follow me. I will arrange a place for you to live. Wait for me to pack up some things first. Old Qin turned around, wanting to simply pack up the bedding in the gatehouse. You don't need these things anymore. Shen Heng waved his hand. His gaze swept around the room, then stopped on the pot of golden pot hose on the windowsill. In his previous life, old Qin was always trapped in the gatehouse and never went out at all. It was only after he got his ability that he broke through the frozen snow with one punch and walked out of the room. It can almost be confirmed that it was this pot of golden pot hose that produced the ability fruit. In the entire room, besides this pot of golden pot hose, there were no other green plants to be seen. Boss, what's wrong? Old Qin saw Shen Heng staring blankly at the pot of golden pot hose and couldn't help but ask. You don't need to bring anything else, just bring this, Shen Heng said, pointing to the pot of golden pot hose on old Qin's windowsill. Old Qin nodded. Although he was a little puzzled by Shen Heng's decision, he was also very smart and didn't ask further. He immediately replied and held the pot of golden pot hose in his arms. As Shen Heng and old Qin were about to leave, he remembered something else and deliberately exposed the pot of golden pot hose to the snow. According to his speculation, the green plants outside that were covered by snow would basically not produce ability fruits. Only a few special mutated plants could produce ability fruits. As for the green plants that were not touched by the snow, they might grow ability fruits. Now he wanted to test this pot of old Qin's golden pot hose. Normally, it would definitely produce an ability fruit 100%. But after being exposed to this snow, would it still be able to bear fruit? It's just a loss of one ability fruit. Don't think that Shen Heng really doesn't have any ability fruits now, but he had already sent Zhao Weilong to quietly collect green plants. In his previous life, it seemed that more than 40 ability users appeared in the entire Taoyuan community. This doesn't even count the hidden ability users like Shen Heng. That is to say, in the entire community, at least 50 ability fruits must have appeared. And what I want to do now is to gather all the indoor green plants in one go, so that I can get so many ability fruits, and they will all belong to me. By then, Shen Heng could not only raise his own ability fire to a terrifying stage, but also give them to the women around him, so that they could also have the ability to protect themselves. Let's go. Shen Heng had old Qin wrap his body tightly, even covering his head, before leaving. In his previous life, Shen Heng's entire focus was on how to survive. Now that he had unlimited supplies, he began to consider that in the most dangerous apocalypse, besides the extreme cold weather, the most vigilant thing was these fluttering snowflakes. There was also the unknown situation that appeared in the sea. Right now, the government's attention is even all focused on the sea. I don't know what appeared in the sea, but Shun Hung can be sure that it must be extremely tricky. Even the current government is probably not its opponent. When the ability fruits appeared, many more mutated animals and plants appeared in the outside world. There are so many marine creatures in the sea. Could it be that they have all mutated? Shun Hung guessed that it was very likely that some of the mutated creatures among them had directly come ashore, which was why the government had no time to manage the cities. After all, Shun Hung had experienced his previous life. Although it was only a short 3 months, he was very clear about the level of destruction caused by those mutated animals and plants. Could the mutation have started from the bottom of the sea first? With his own speculation, Shun Hung felt a little creeped out. The ocean has many creatures. It's rich, with probably nearly 300,000 species. Just think about it, a shark or a whale, with such ferocity, huge volume, and destructive power, once it sets foot on land, what kind of great destruction will it cause? In his previous life, Shun Hung had encountered a mutated cat that easily took the lives of many people. It was nearly 3 meters tall, and with just one jump, it could leap more than 10 meters. Its claws were more than 10 centimeters long. They were sharp and sturdy, truly a weapon of mass destruction. It seemed that cat was also a homeowner in the community. After all, those who raised dogs had long since eaten their own dogs due to extreme hunger. The people of Long Country don't have the concept of eating cat meat, so 2 such cats were lucky enough to escape danger. But after mutating, they caused great destruction to the Taoyuan community. They were not seen again after that. It was said that they were killed by Old Qin. He turned his head and glanced at Qin Yiming. Old Qin was walking and observing his own fist, his eyes full of surprise and joy. This guy doesn't even know how strong he is. It won't be long before he will no longer be lonely and have to regulate himself, but will be holding the pure Fu Xiaozhu, having fun every night. Now that Old Qin has swallowed the ability fruit and has become so strong, I wonder if giving him a few more will allow him to continue evolving like me, or if it will awaken a new superpower. Shun Hung turned his head to look at Old Qin. Old Qin, do you know why I had you bring this pot of green plants? Ah. Old Qin raised his head and said in confusion, I don't know. But boss, you must have your reasons for doing so. Because this pot of green plants, after a while, will bear an ability fruit, Shun Hung said with a smile. What? Old Qin's eyes widened, and he looked at the pot of golden pot hose in his hand in disbelief. This thing can bear fruit. If it were before, he would have scoffed at it. But now, after swallowing the ability fruit, he could clearly feel the changes in his body. He felt as if he had returned to his 20-year-old self, and even surpassed himself at 20. However, now that it's exposed to the snow, it probably won't bear fruit, Shun Hung added. Old Qin reacted quickly and hurriedly pulled open his coat, preparing to stuff the pot of green plants into his clothes. The ability fruit was precious. He was all too clear about that. This was a treasure that money couldn't buy. No need to hurry. I just wanted to try it out. It's an experiment. Shun Hung stopped his action and explained. One ability fruit is nothing. Next, I hope you can use this time to take control of our community, and then buy all the green plants. Yes. Old Qin stood up straight and bowed respectfully to Shun Hung. There's no need to be so polite between us. I've said it before, if we win the world, you'll have half of it. Shun Hung patted Old Qin's shoulder. Old Qin had saved his life. Even if Old Qin didn't save him in this life, Shun Hung would still remember it in his heart. After all, if it weren't for Old Qin, he would probably have died long ago, let alone being able to see the true faces of Feng Lu and Su Chao. Acquiring green plants is a crucial task. Zhao Weilong, that kid who just shouts and makes a fuss, is just a petty thug. I'm afraid he won't be able to complete the task well. It's better to entrust it to Old Qin to be at ease. Since the area where Old Qin lives is in the high-rise residential area, and it's on the snow. To avoid others seeing the snowmobile, Shun Hung decided to walk with Old Qin. However, what surprised and delighted Shun Hung was that even though the snow was now quite thick, after his surrounding attributes increased to 11 points, he walked on the snow without his feet sinking deep. His body became light and soft, and he could also control it at will, although he couldn't yet achieve the realm of walking on snow without leaving a trace. Even if he left footprints, his feet no longer sank deep. As for old Sheen behind him, perhaps because his body had been strengthened, although his strength had increased significantly, his body was still very agile, not inferior at all. The two of them advanced like this, arriving at the townhouse villa area. Shin Hung led Old Sheen to Villa 2-5 and said, "Old Sheen, from today on, you will live here. Don't worry, this is my wife's property." "Thank you, boss." Sheen Yiming's eyes lit up, and he nodded repeatedly. Even though he had been a mercenary and saved up a lot of money, he had never lived in a villa before. Because he had saved all that money for his daughter. Shin Hung led Old Sheen into the courtyard. To be more precise, the snow today had already covered up to the second-floor windows. The walls were completely covered. There was no need to even step over. The top of the fence wall had merged with the snow. Walking to the front of the window, Shun Heng pushed it open with just a slight force. Then he led Old Sheen to jump into the room. The room was beautifully decorated. Although it couldn't compare to Villa 4 where Shun Hung was staying, it was also quite good. Shun Hung waved his hand. A large amount of thermal insulation materials and other heating equipment appeared right in front of him. Old Sheen was startled, his eyes wide with astonishment. "Boss, you are." Old Sheen swallowed hard, his eyelids twitching. "These are living supplies. Don't worry, follow me, and you won't lack anything." Shun Hung patted Old Sheen's shoulder and introduced, "This is a warming panel. You just stick it on the wall to keep the room warm. And this is super glue. You should also replace these window curtains. They also have warming properties." He explained how to use these items one by one, then said, "All right, I'm in Villa 4 right next door. You clean up the house first, and when you're done, come find me." Old Sheen replied with a sound and watched Shun Hung leave the villa. Old Sheen quickly began to stick the warming panels. How did the boss just wave his hand and so many supplies appeared? Looking at the warming panel in his hand, and then at the mountains of food and drinks piled on the ground, Old Sheen couldn't believe his eyes. Not only were there all kinds of emergency supplies, but there were also flour, rice, cooking oil, pork, mutton, beef, seafood, and fruits. The boss is practically a mobile warehouse. No, that's not right. Old Sheen frowned. That trick the boss just pulled, could that be his ability? Could it be that the boss's ability is to possess an infinite warehouse of supplies, but he has no means of self-defense? Old Sheen was very pleased with this thought. Therefore, the boss wants to find a bodyguard to protect his safety first. And I, because of my honesty, righteousness, and courage, was chosen by the boss. I will not fail the boss's high expectations. After swallowing the ability fruit, I have awakened an ability. I am